What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you. It is Monday, May 19th, 2025, year of our Lord. Been an interesting week. Very interesting week. I feel like I've never put out more content than I have last week. Never put out more content than I have last week. Crazy, 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 crazy. What's up, friends? What's up, friends? I see y'all in the chat. Azriel, Don, the Architect, George, Zeta. Zeta, you can't be chasing hoes. Come on, man. Don't be trying to chase hoes, women, wives, prostitutes, whoever. You can't be thinking about women this early in the morning, bro. It's Monday. Mondays is for money. Mondays is money. All right? Mondays is for money. Money is not, you can't make money chasing women. You can lose money chasing women, but you can't make money chasing women. That's a fact. What's going on, friends? You can't be talking about trying to, where is this woman at? No, 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 no. We don't do that. We don't do that, big dog. We don't do that. We focus 100% on the bag. What up, George? I appreciate you. Zero Royce couldn't keep up with your post last week. Yeah, yeah, Tony. It's a little bit for everything. A little bit for everybody. What up, family? Let's get some housekeeping out of the way, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. Number one, let's set the precedent because I did a little bit of a live streaming on Saturday to make up for Friday. I did a live streaming on Saturday to make up for Friday because I had to go to my daughter's event or whatever. But on Saturday, you got to see a little bit more unfiltered for those of you that's not familiar with After Hours, and you only used to seeing me on the Millionaire Morning Show during the week. We got a little bit extra, but let's rein it in. And the first form of maintenance that we need to do as far as making sure that we get some housekeeping out of the way is we're not going to be deep diving into the dust. All right. We got a lot of show to cover. We got a lot of things to get into, and we can't focus on the dusties Saturday was a special occasion. Maybe I'll live stream on a Saturday for another platform, but Saturdays was a special occasion. People enjoyed the Saturday show, but you can't keep putting that type of energy. That junk will drain you. It's entertaining at first, but then it'll start draining you every single time. Because then you'll create an environment where Dusties always want to get attention, and you don't want to give them that, right? You just want to focus on being productive and being authentic. All right. So first things first. Let's all be adults here. Agree, disagree, whatever. Let's be respectful inside of the chat. That's number one. Number two, we got a full show that's ahead of y'all, so we're gonna deep dive into some things, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Have fun. Number three, make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Make sure you get your Tiege. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It's a phenomenal product. That link is in the description. Thank you, Tiege Hanley, for being a longtime sponsor of the show. Number four, if you are not a bag chaser, don't ask me where the location of the next meetup is. Don't ask me where it is that we live streaming next. Don't ask nothing. Nothing. All right? Don't ask nothing. All right, and number five, I decided to cancel my trip that I was going to take out of the country. So I was looking at, actually wasn't out of the country, technically speaking, but I was going to go to Puerto Rico. All right. And I decided not to go to Puerto Rico because when I went to Richmond, outside of going to my daughter's event, I was knee deep. I'll get into that in a minute. All right. So let me go ahead and read some of the super chats and the cash apps, and then we're going to go from there. And then I'll give you guys some insight. We're going to get started with the show. First and foremost, shout out to Mike That Dude. I appreciate you, Mike That Dude. And then Anthony, shout out to you for the support. Robert Seals, I'm definitely going to be looking at that. I got you. I'm looking at emails, but I've been knee deep in some things, all right? Also want to acknowledge Kim One. Shout out to Kim One, says, we called the Biden play. Thankfully, we stopped it. We did call it. I'm going to dig into that very, very shortly. We're going to get into the Biden situation. George Everett says, what up, fam? What up, George? I appreciate you. P. Shank says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels and a Million and Morning Show. What up, P? What up, P? So, again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. If you're looking to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Also, if you are in the Patreon, make sure that you tap into the Discord, overseen by my guy Yakar. All right, the Discord is an extension of the Patreon. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon, so no excuses. All right, Moses King says, AD, I'm sliding through Detroit soon. Put me on. What's the best burger joint in the city? I'm trying to eat good. I don't know if you really want to know what the best burger joints is in the city, to be honest with you. Because the best burger joints is in the hood. It's not National Coney Island. It's not American Coney Island. That's downtown. It's in some of the Coney Islands that's in the hoods. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel comfortable, find you a hood Coney Island and go to those. Get you a bacon cheeseburger deluxe. If you're feeling real frisky, you can throw some chili on that joint, chili cheese fries. Get everything. Get the works. The best burger joints is in the hood. I'm telling you right now. It's not going to be no big old, oh my God. What? If you want to go a little bit more sophisticated, you want to go high end, great restaurant, you can go to Prime and Proper. If you're trying to get in the mix a little bit, then you may want to go to the Zuzu. Go to Zuzu's. If you're trying to find the best burger, you're going to have to go to the hoods. Hood Coney Islands is hidden. But just be careful. Just be careful how bad you want to eat. How bad you want to eat. So, yeah, big dog. Yeah. It's prize popping. For real. Anyways, what else we got? All right, before we deep dive too heavy into the show, let me acknowledge a couple more super chats, and then I want to shout out to Moses King. City is gonna be fun. Stay downtown. Pray for St. Louis. The hood got hit with a bad tornado. Yeah, I heard about that tornado over in St. Louis. I've been paying attention to that. Might be an investment opportunity, to be honest with you. Might be an investment opportunity. Have y'all heard about Streamers University? Before we get into the show, before we get into the deep stuff, have y'all heard about Streamers University? So Streamers University, let me pull it up. Streamers University is something that's being that was created by Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat and his team and all of that, they created Streamers University. And so basically, it's a way. The trailer was pretty awesome too. Basically, Kai Cenat has come up with this genius idea where they basically take streamers or people that may or may not be recognized or as awesome or as big as him, and they putting them on, right? They teach them how to stream, and getting them more visibility. You get to work with Kai Cenat. I heard DDG was also being a professor on Streamers University. He's accepted as a professor. And so, yeah, I think it's a great, 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 great marketing opportunity. Kai Cenat is really putting on his business hat. I see him being much bigger than the Kevin Harts of the world. I think that the old ways of comedy is it's not done, it's not over, but I don't think that the older comics are adapting as effectively as people like the Kai Cenats, Drewskis, all of those type of people. But they are streamers. Kai Cenat is obviously one of the biggest streamers in the world. I think that iShowSpeed is probably the biggest streamer in the world. But he created this thing called Streamers University. Now, the thing about Streamers University is he went through and I believe he selected, I don't remember how many people he selected, but he selected a bunch of people. And then as usual, there were a group of people in this trailer hitting. The cinematography in this trailer is slapping. As usual, you had a group of people that was basically mad that they didn't get picked. It created a bunch of drama. A whole bunch of people is saying different things. Old school, you too old to be hating on Kevin Hart, bro. Come on, man. We past hating. We past hating, bro. You too old to be talking about another grown man that you ain't never met before. You too old for that, big dog. Come on, man. We off that. Anyways, the point is that he picked a bunch of different people to be a part of his Streamers University that gives him more visibility, gives him a leg up. Most of the people that were a part of this whole situation is his friends. And that's where a lot of the disposition is. And now people are making videos saying, oh my God, I can't believe that y'all did these videos. What did y'all really think? People are disappointed that they didn't get picked. I see different people streaming in their places and streaming in their rooms and stuff like that. That's basically saying they don't know what they expect.
A bunch of known faces on there, like a whole bunch of known Twitch streamers, And I think people have thought it was gonna be an event for broke ass streamers or one or two viewers or something to teach them how to stream, and that was gonna be their chance. That was gonna be their big break, and it was gonna make and change their entire lives. And I seen niggas making TikToks now is their chance, this is their moment. I'm I was just sitting back looking at him. I'm like, you just literally just giving this nigga promo for his shit, bro. Dude, Kai's smart, man, but that I could be completely wrong. It's just I know how this content creation shit is, and that'll be a smart way to get some revenue because being a big ass content creator like Kai, everybody's always begging him for shit. So everybody's always asking for a handout. Everybody always begging for a handout and shit. So why not make millions of people unknowingly give me website revenue for some shit I'm gonna make them sign.
So, of course, people are going to get mad at it and people are going to get bothered by it. And they're going to say, oh, my God, he just already too rich and he making a bunch of money and he picked all of his friends. That's what the biggest thing is. I can't believe it. He picked people that was already popping. He picked people that he already knew. He picked his friends. All of that, right? And I had a few different thoughts from this before we really get into the show. And the first thought that I had was, why are you upset that you didn't get picked? If I was going into this as a younger man, a much younger man, obviously, I would go into it from the perspective of, listen, I'm going to shoot my shot. It's a nice to have. And then I'm going to keep it moving after that. I'm never going to rage out. I've seen people get mad. I've seen people crying. I've seen people getting raged out, creating whole videos about how they don't like him anymore. We made the wrong guy famous. They did all of those videos. Yo, my responsibility is on me to make sure that I get rich. I I'm not gonna look to another guy, and it's incredible. It's an incredible amount of pressure. I tell you, it's an incredible amount of pressure when you get successful or you get visibility because everybody expecting you to put them on. Everybody feel like they should be entitled to get put on or part of your stuff or asking them for stuff. So it's a very difficult position to be in. But secondly, you know, I was talking to Jason Whitlock last week because the stream that him and I did is probably like over 115,000 views at this point. And so we was like, yo, it's no reason why we shouldn't be collabing and working on some stuff. And so we putting some stuff together. And one of the conversations that we were having, because we were talking about the different people that we would want to stream with and stuff like that. And one of the conversations that we had, I don't want to go too deep into it, was, nah, we can't do this. We can't do that person. We can't do this person because, you know, they too entitled or they going to be feeling some type of way or whatever. And so the conclusion that we came to is that it's better to stream with people that's already got motion, because then they don't feel, you know, don't nobody need each other, but everybody benefits from us working together. If I already got my platform and Jason got his platform and this person got their platform and that person got their platform, nobody is going to be tripping if they decide to go their own way or it's not working for them no more or they got more priorities or whatever, because nobody is interdependent on each other, but everybody already got motion, right? So you're going to have to get your own motion. You're going to have to do your own thing. You can't depend on Kai to fix you or get you rich or get it popping or any of this type of stuff, right? You got to get your own motion. You can't depend on another grown man. That's number one. But then number two, I started thinking about it a little bit more extensively, and I said, well, they complaining that most of the people that he put on was people that he know and is his friends. I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing. When I'm in the shower, and I was thinking about this, and this is why I kind of made this a part of this conversation, because I want to get this off. When I was in the shower today and I was getting ready to come into the studio, I was thinking to myself, man, if I ever get that 30 million a year, if I ever get to the point to where I'm making this, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this person on. I only need about 10 a year for myself, and then I'm going to give another 10 to 15. Actually, I was saying half. So I was saying I was going to give another 15 to the people that I stream with, and I'm going to take another 5, and I'm going to put other people in place that I know that's bag chasers. I'm going to need Azriel over here, and then your car going to have to be over here, and then we going to do this and do that. I don't think about people that's not outside of my network. I think about the people that add the most value to me. And the majority of what I think, whether it be the people that I stream with on After Hours or Q or whatever, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I get them a bag, or how can I put them in a position, or how can I leverage this, or if I get this sponsorship or this thing that I'm working on, or if we get this bigger deal or whatever, how much more money could I pay them? I'm only thinking about the people that's closest to me. And that's what real networking is. Networking is, let me get this off my screen. Networking is getting motion, aligning with other people that got motion, running up a bag together, and then figuring out how everybody can benefit from it. That's what true networking is. Networking is not going to a networking event. Networking is getting your own self together and then aligning with other people that got themselves together so that you can then leverage and then get the opportunities, because networking isn't using people and it being one-sided. If people contact me and they say, Anton, what about this? Or Anton, come and check out my channel. I'm going to give y'all some game right now, okay? I'm going to give you some game. People hit me up and say, Ton, come check out my channel. Or Ton, I want to be on a panel and this and that, whatever, so on and so forth. And I say, okay. So I look at the emails, and then I go to their stuff and they don't have nothing up, right? Or I go to their stuff and they only got 200 subscribers or something. And they just getting themselves started. I think it's kind of messed up that you expect something from me. You expect me to use my platform that I built out of the mud organically and then try to get you some motion, and you don't add no value to what I already got going on. That's messed up. Have y'all ever thought about it from that lens when you go over and you start to ask somebody to put you on or give me some money? A relationship is supposed to be both people benefit somehow, some way. Whether you in a relationship with a woman or a guy or whatever it is that you're talking about, it's supposed to be reciprocal. Value add, because you add value to me. Value add because I'm adding value to you. We much better together. You know why most relationships don't work? Relationships don't work because it's always way one-sided on one side. A woman shows up and says, you know what? I just want to be taken care of. I want to live the soft life. I want to be a stay-at-home wife. And then you say, okay, well, what are you going to do for him? Ain't that what men supposed to do? They supposed to take care of their women. No. You got it mixed up, baby. They would take care of the kids. They will be nurturing. They would add value. They were a help meet. So it's an exchange. It's not supposed to be one-sided. He's not supposed to be better off without you. He's supposed to be benefiting as a result of you being in his life. So if the only thing that you can lean on is that y'all have known each other for a long time, or when I'm loyal, then that means that you're not adding value. You need to go ahead and remove yourself out of his life. If you loved him, you would remove yourself, or you would figure out how to add value and stop whining all the time about how you not getting what you need emotionally out of it. That's why we hold women accountable a lot of times, because we say, well, wait a minute, but what did you do? Or what are you doing? Or are you adding value? Or the only thing that you're doing is telling all of this business on TikTok? It's supposed to be reciprocated, right? So the first thing that you should do, if you ever ask somebody, or you ever connect with somebody, or you ever trying to link up with somebody, the first thing that you should do is ask yourself, what value do I add to them? And then what value would they add for me? If it's exponentially one way, then I think that you should not ask them for nothing. You maybe need to know, you need a coaching call. You need to pay for services. You shouldn't be asking them for anything. You need to ask for a coaching call on how you can come up. When people reach out to me and they say, hey, give me some game, give me some visibility, promote me. And I'd be like, for what? For what? You know why I never asked people on my platform in the past? You know why I never asked people on my platform? As good of friends as me and Kevin Samuels was, I never, ever, not one time, ever asked him to come on any platform that I was a part of. He would reach out to me and say, yo, Tom, send me the link. Let me go. I'm going to come on here and kick some game. I never asked him to ever come on a platform. Our friendship had to be organic in real life. And I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why. I've never said this before. One of the reasons why is because I felt like I had a lot more work to do to get more visibility for myself, because it wouldn't be a one-for-one. It would be too one-sided. He had already blew up. He had already become successful. He was already great. He already had his own motion. He had already did whatever it is that he was doing, whatever it was. And when I seen a bunch of guys coming out saying stuff like, I can't believe Kev ain't put me on. I can't believe he ain't shout out the Manosphere. What about all of the guys that came before him? What about the people that he used to stream with or whatever? And I was thinking to myself, but do y'all got motion? Or would you slow him down? Because if they went over to your platform and said that Kev was attached to it, would it make him look bad? You know what who Kev attached himself to? MTR, the lead attorney. He was rocking out with people that was already putting in the work. You know why? Because they was all working together and they was all putting on for each other. And I would think to myself, well, wait a minute. It's because people think selfishly. It would be selfish for me to go over and say, hey, big bro, come on over or whatever, and then get upset if he said no. No, I was just working on myself. You know what? I got to grind. You know what? I got to hustle. You know what? I got to go ahead and take care of business. You know what? I got to get to this point. From a content creator's perspective, I was not there yet. I look at my old content from 2, 3, 4 years ago, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, man. But then I see where I'm going. I see how I've changed. I see how I evolved. Even the way that I communicate, the production level, all of that stuff. I was not there yet. I don't want to slow nobody down. I want to add value, and I want it to be reciprocated. It shouldn't just be one way. So when you're thinking about networking, when you're thinking about working, when you're thinking about being a content creator, when you think about being a businessman, you think about joining an organization, when they let you into certain places, they do so when you think about a country club, when you think about certain organizations that you have to pay to be a part of, that you have to give your dues. They vet you not just based off. Do you know why Kevin Samuels and why everybody, let me just kick it with y'all and then we're going to jump into the show. Do you know why Kevin Samuels, he had the most relevant definition of what a high value man is? And everybody only looked at it as money and they took it and ran, because Kev understood and he broke it down and he said, listen, being a high value man is not about how much money you have. It's about how much money you're making and can you sustain it for an extended period of time in a professional field that adds value to other people, like other men in certain places. And he broke down the different things that made men high value, right? What you did was just as important as if you got it. Did you get it one time and you wasn't able to sustain it? How much were you getting over a period of time? Were you a part of a group that added value to other people? The definition got hijacked by women that wanted to have a conversation only about money because they could not understand for the life of them why they weren't getting the men that they wanted. You have to meet an expectation to be a part of certain groups because the value that those men have in that group or those people that are in that country club, they don't care necessarily about your money. They care about the value add. Everybody that's in the club is getting money. Everybody that's in the club can make a bunch of money. They're respected in their respective fields. What would you do for, like, what value do you add to the group? Or really, would you slow us down? And it's not even that they would necessarily use you, but they want the opportunity to do business with you. That's why you have to qualify yourself to get into certain groups. So when I see people that are complaining about what is happening in these groups or why they didn't get accepted, because you ain't good enough yet. That's the truth. You're not where you think you should be, and you think you better than what you are, but in reality, you just looking for a come up. You looking for a hookup. You looking for a hookup. Guys, when you get to a certain part of life, when you get to a certain level of life and maturity and money and resources and success, you'll start looking at everybody. You'll start looking at women differently. You won't look at women as, man, I just want to bust it down, because that's old news. If you get to 30 and 40 years on this earth and the only thing you still thinking about is if she a baddie or a bad chick, I would say you got arrested development and you still only 19 years old in your head, regardless of how much money you got, because you have to start vetting people that are in your life more effectively. The first thing that I look at when I see a woman is, how much does she have to lose? How much does she have to lose? What is her life like? Does she have a husband? Does she have a business? Does she have a family? What is her profession? How much money does she make? You know why? Because those type of women are less likely to Shannon Sharp you and accuse you of something that you didn't do, even if you decide that you never wanted to sleep with them. They can be around you and you don't have to worry as much about them because they got just as much to lose as you. That's why discipline is important. You can't come around me unless I see the value add, because I have to know that you are a valuable person and that you won't do something that I don't agree with because you're looking to come up off of me instead of adding value to what we're working on together. That is why we vet women. That is why it's important for you not to date down. That is why you have to make sure that the people that you surround yourself with is going in the direction that you're going in. The value add is going to be the determining factor between winning and losing, lawsuits or pure bliss, success or falling into the dumps, or somebody using your name to come up. If you are past the age of 30 as a man and you are still trying to just hook up with a baddie and you willing to risk it all, everything that you worked for, and you not vetting people, you not waiting some time before you start to interact with people and you start to bring them around you, bring them around your space, bring them inside of your office, spending more time building or whatever in your brand and all of that, and the only thing you can think of is busting it down, and you're willing to risk it all, I can't be around you because you're not thinking. You don't have the level of discipline and the character to be able to carry yourself and be successful, and you're going to catch yourself. You're going to get caught up in something. Even if you don't have nothing today, it's going to come back to bite you later because you was not thinking, you was not focused, and you was not worried about whether or not you was going, you know what I'm saying, how this was going to affect you long term. I can't be around you. I cannot be around you. You have to find people that have just as much to lose as you to be around. Otherwise, you are always going to lose. Point of this whole conversation is make sure that you add value. Make sure that you level up. Stop asking people something that you're not already doing, right? I won't even respond to people that don't have a certain level of motion online. When people, like, for example, I like when people make videos about me. I like when people say stuff. It keeps my name in the algorithm. It's a blessing. But then people send me stuff and they say, Anton, you're not going to get at this person. And I say, well, why would I do that? Me responding to them is helping them. Remember, what is this, a year ago, 2 years ago, me and Richard Fain was going back and forth. You know why I responded to Richard Fain? Because Richard Fain got motion. I don't know what he's doing today, but when I was going back and forth with him, I said, okay, well, this is a person that's worthy of having a conversation with about resources because he got motion. I'm not responding to somebody that's way down here. I help them. They don't benefit me. Them reacting to me, them talking about me, they benefit me. I don't benefit them. It's not a one for one. If you're going to beef, you're going to have to start beefing with people that look at it from a business perspective. I'm not beefing. First of all, I don't really believe in real beef in real life, but for the sake of conversation, I'm not being confrontational online with somebody that don't got motion. You dusty. But I appreciate you for the free promotion. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. You got to be strategic. I see them. I laugh. I even enjoy some of their live streams that they do. I enjoy some of the videos that they put out. And then I'll leave it at that. We laugh as a group. We put it on the big screen. We hit a like for the algorithm for them when they say stuff or whatever. And then we go to the next video. We get back to work. I'm about to take my time out to promote them. They don't got no motion. I can't capitalize off of their audience. Why would I do that? So just a little bit of game for y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with 10 of your notifications. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats and let's go ahead and get into the show. Do you believe in motion without popularity? Yeah, but then that means that that means you add value in a different way. Shout out to Latrell. I appreciate you for the super chat. Thank you. Keith Woodson says, good morning. Please don't simp for white people today or being a white apologist. Clayton Bigsby and Steven from Django in the Flesh. Thank you for the fireball. Listen, you got to appreciate people that pay you for visibility. You got to appreciate it. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. I appreciate you. I already explained why that's important last week, so we're not going to do that again on Saturday. That was Saturday's live stream. Keith, keep doing what you do, big dog. Molly says, I love you, Anton. Let me give my girl Molly a round of applause. Shout out to my girl. Says, thanks for being you. Changing Narrative says, what up, though, AD? Did you check out those videos I sent? This the gospel rapper from the D. I would love to perform at one of your next live events. Keep up the good work, my guy. I got my people going through it. I do have my people looking at every single email. We probably get about 300 emails a day, but we read them all. It just takes us a little bit to get to some of them. George Everett says, fam, you cooking with gas and the pot is hot. Shout out to you, George. I appreciate you. Gas gods in the building. Says country clubs, members only, cigar lounges, etc. You are absolutely right about the value add in its members. See? And he big dog. He big dog. Thank you, big dog, for holding me down. He also says, since I've joined some of these groups, my wealth can substantially increase and continues to do so. He get it. He absolutely get it. Tony Red, I appreciate you. Thank you, Tony, for holding me down. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it, big dog. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get into the show? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. and turn on your notifications. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this Palm Springs IVF clinic explosion, and the person that was identified. The person that was identified as a result of it. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with this, but this is what happened over the weekend. And I wanted to bring some visibility to this before we get into the Biden situation and all of that. So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. It's Rob.
To visually see it, Chief Mills wouldn't let me return back to.
So that was one witness testimony, and it looks like very possibly we may be getting authorities stepping up to the mic to give us an update on this explosion in Palm Springs. This was and just outside of a fertility clinic in the city, which is about a 2-hour drive east of Los Angeles. This is the first time we've heard from authorities on camera. Let's listen in.
Started. I'm Lieutenant Mike Villegas. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Palm Springs Police Department. We will have 4 speakers today from the FBI, from the Palm Springs Police Department, Palm Springs Fire Department, and our city council members. So first, we're going to start off with Assistant Director Akil Davis. He's from the FBI in Los Angeles.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Good afternoon. As Mike just said, my name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office. This morning at approximately 11 a.m. local time, our police and fire partners responded to an explosion at the 1300 block of North Indian Canyon Drive in Palm Springs, just behind us, a couple hundred feet. In addition to the FBI, Palm Springs PD, the Palm Springs Fire Department, and other agencies, including the ATF, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, Desert Hot Springs Police Department, Cathedral City Police Department, as well as the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, all responded to this incident. The FBI, which has an office nearby, responded with approximately 6 agents initially. Currently, one person who was near the vehicle is deceased, but at least 4 people are injured. I'd like to offer our best wishes to those injured and hopefully for a quick recovery. After my remarks, Chief Mills will provide a status on the injuries, as well as community safety and other road closure precautions. This explosion was significant, covering several blocks north, south, east, and west of the 1300 block of Indian Canyon. Roads are closed as there's wide debris field over 250 yards. The FBI's evidence response team is on scene right now, processing evidence, and will be here for a significant amount of time. Our bomb technicians are working with the post-blast scene as well to determine the origins of the blast. We are working to confirm the identity of the deceased, and we will provide that to you as soon as we can, but we are keeping that close hold in order to protect the integrity of the investigation. Make no mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism. The FBI is investigating it as such. Our Joint Terrorism Task Force is here, working in lockstep with the Palm Springs Police Department, the ATF, and a whole host of agencies that I've already mentioned. If anyone has information regarding this incident, I urge them to call 1-800-CALL-FBI for any tips that might assist us in our investigation. Now I'd like to turn it over to Palm Springs Police Chief Andy Mills.
Can you just say your name again, please, and your title really quick?
Yes, Akil Davis, Assistant Director in Charge, FBI Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Andrew Mills, M-I-L-L-S, Police Chief in Palm Springs. And with me today is our Mayor Pro Tem, Naomi Soto, this side, as well as council members David Reddy, Jeffrey Bernstein, and Grace Gardner, and our city manager, Scott Stiles. I am really saddened by today's attack on our city, but I'm also hopeful because this city will rise. And this city.
All right, I don't need any speeches. I'm going to go over to another video so that I can try to deep dive into this a little bit more before I give my commentary. Because I'm still trying to understand why somebody would bomb an IVF clinic. And maybe I'm just not understanding. Maybe I don't get it. But I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I am familiar with what happened and the suspect. And again, I'm going to bring y'all up to date on that. But I'm trying to learn as much information as I can before, we start talking about this.
Terrorism came knocking on the door of Palm Springs.
Now on Eyewitness News at 8 o'clock, terror hits Palm Springs. What's being called an intentional car bomb attack outside a fertility clinic, rocking Palm Springs, hurling debris for blocks, blowing out windows of nearby buildings and leaving one person dead. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Eyewitness News at 8, live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Jory Rand.
And I'm Sophie Flay. Investigators have their hands full tonight with a massive crime scene in the desert. Here's what we know right now. Investigators were calling this an intentional act of violence. Again, one person was killed, at least 4 people are injured. The damage and debris extending over several blocks. Federal and local agencies are involved in the investigation. They have mentioned a person of interest.
We have complete team coverage for you tonight, including a second crime scene in 29 Palms. Eyewitness News reporter Elena Gomez is live there as authorities have locked down a scene out of fear of another explosion. But we begin with Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan, who is live in Palm Springs with the latest on the investigation there. Rob.
Just a massive crime scene out here near downtown Palm Springs, covering multiple city blocks. One officer telling me that investigators could be out here for days. As you mentioned, 4 people injured, 1 person killed. Now, the authorities aren't saying anything about the suspect in this case. However, they are saying that the community is no longer in any danger. A massive explosion right in the middle of downtown Palm Springs. Dozens of windows blown out by the intensity of the blast, shrapnel flying hundreds of feet, tourists and locals alike wondering what was going on.
We heard this loud noise. I shook all of our building.
It was a big bang.
Leon Basilio was making a delivery for Uber Eats at the time of the blast. He was close by, so he immediately went to the scene.
As I went on the lot, I seen a car on fire. It was pieces of car. It wasn't a whole car.
Authorities say it's possible that the car was the source of the blast. What they would say is that this was no accident. They believe a fertility clinic the car was parked right behind was intentionally targeted.
Make no mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism.
Akil Davis is the assistant director.
Well, Nola, you said God gives life. How are they playing God? Okay. Let me hold on to that for a second.
In charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, he describes the crime scene as massive.
Let me be clear. This was probably one of the largest bombing investigations that we've had in Southern California. This explosion was significant, covering several blocks north, south, east, and west.
4 people were injured, 1 person killed. However, the FBI would not comment on whether the person who was killed was an innocent bystander or perhaps their suspect.
So we did confirm that it was a suspect that died. So I'm not sure if he meant to kill himself. Ginger and Jew says those fertilization treatments get the viable eggs to be placed in a mother's womb. It's mainly for people with fertility issues. Okay, so let me just make sure that we all speak into this in truth. Let me understand something real quick.
The important thing is that we're helping these sperm and these eggs get together when they wouldn't naturally be able to do that.
Essentially, this is where life was created, in this room.
Pretty much, yes.
In the early 80s, IVF success rates averaged 10%. Today, it's well over 30% for women under 35. Although rates fall as you get older, to about 1 in 10 for women in their early 40s. IVF success rates have been rising constantly as new techniques have been introduced and improved. With ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, sperm can now be injected straight into the egg using a tube the thickness of a hair.
Okay, so this is how the IVF happens.
This helps when sperm quality is poor and they don't easily penetrate the egg.
Okay, so essentially what you guys are telling me is that IVF treatments give me a little bit of rope here. I'm going to summarize it from a C student's perspective. Some people are saying test tube babies. IVF treatments are essentially because when the sperm quality, I don't know what that means by sperm quality is poor. I know guys down in the South, down in Georgia, I know guys that were still having babies all the way through their 70s. And when they died, they were still revealing that they had little kids. I know guys that was working in the plant that wasn't still working in the plant after 40 years because they actually liked their job. They was working in the plant because they had their side chick over here. They had a whole nother family on the side that they was raising, and they had to make sure that they got that kid through 18 and through college. And so they was still in the plant. They didn't retire because they was still working. That's what I know. So this is all new information for me. You know what I'm saying? Grandpapa used to be having kids all the way through his 70s and sometimes to his 80s, depending on where he was from. That was normal. All right. So they say that it's either not, Molly is saying not enough sperm or slow. Now, they use this process, whatever this process is right here, to ensure that the sperm gets injected into the egg so that they'll have a better chance of the woman ultimately getting pregnant. Is that fair? Is that fair? In summary, it is a treatment to where they are helping the sperm reach the egg, and then there's a greater possibility of the woman getting pregnant. Correct? They said the sperm ain't Michael Phelps no more. Can't swim. Okay. All right. So now that we understand what that is, all right, because this is much different of a conversation than we talking about, say, abortion. Right? The sperm is AARP. This is much different than if you talking about abortion. Abortion is the killing of babies, right? It is the elimination of something that is already formed and flushing it down the toilet. I don't believe that there should be bombings anywhere. But if you see some of those signs of what that stuff looks like, it makes you cringe to your stomach. And then it also starts to foster a conversation around, okay, well, wait a minute. Is this a life that we taking? Because I see women all the time on the internet talking about, girl, get rid of that kid. It was cool for me. Plan B, plan C, and all of this stuff. And I say, okay, wait a minute. We need to start having more conversations about being proactive and who you choose to have a child with instead of using it as a form of contraception. IVF is helping, yes, DJ Ace Productions, helping a short bust sperm get to the egg so that it's a greater possibility for you to get pregnant. What I'm trying to understand is, why is this an issue for people? Because nothing that I see tells me that we should care about fertility treatments. Nothing that I see as a conservative Republican, myself personally, tells me that we should care about fertility treatments. If you want your sperm on a short bus, then you want your sperm on a short bus. I don't understand what the problem is. Somebody says if you against IVF, you're dusty. I'm gonna tell you, I don't care. This is one of those issues that I don't believe is political. Now, the only way that I can insert myself into it is if we are using tax dollars, meaning dollars from me, dollars from you, to get this thing done for people. I don't believe that I should have to pay for your fertility treatments. If it don't cost me no money in this particular issue, I don't see where the morality is, and I don't understand why we would care about whether or not people got fertility treatments. This is not a a political issue, in my opinion. Angel says it was an LGBTQ fertility clinic. How? How? But I mean, how would we know? Because I can't imagine that a fertility clinic says we only service people that are boy and boy and girl and girl. How would they be able to get away with only being and only servicing gay couples? I don't believe that. Unless there's some unless there's some evidence that support otherwise, I can't believe that. If it is not coming out of my dollars, tax dollars, and it is not a morality issue, which I can't make it out to be a morality issue, then I don't care. If you're using your own money, if you're using your own healthcare coverage that is supported by your company and your company want to pay for it, and you get an IVF or fertility treatments, that's on you. That's on you. So again, I think that this is unfortunate. Thankfully, he's the only life that was taken. There are other people that was hurt as a result of it, but people need to stop being so extreme. You can't go and blow up something because you don't care, or you affecting a bunch of city blocks because you don't agree with something that somebody else is doing. That's not how we work. That's not how it works here in the United States of America. That's not how it works. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. So, just a quick hit for you guys. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go on to the next part of the show. We got the pirate ship. I ain't going to call it a pirate ship, the Mexican ship. We got to bring y'all up to speed on what happened in Brooklyn. And then we also got to talk about Biden, and then we're going to get into Diddy, and we're going to get into all of this other stuff, all right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats. Pink Pill, shout out to my girl Pink Pill, says, thanks for highlighting my TikTok post on black fatigue yesterday, Anton. I got you, baby. I got you, baby. And I made sure that I put links in to y'all. Make sure y'all go and check out Pink Pill on TikTok. She had a very, very great take. And I did a reaction video to it, and I made sure that I linked back to her so that she can get the credit, because we always got to make sure that we take care of our babies. Shout out to my girl Pink Pill. I might have to have you come on the show. I'm interested in getting your thoughts on some other stuff. Keith Woodson decided that he wanted to pay again. He says, I'm getting value from what you're dropping today. Pick friends and associates wisely. Your friends determine your future. Do background checks. Okay, Keith. That's what we talking about. Finally, we getting somewhere. Tony Reyes says, I emailed you about Tyler Butler case too, bro. All right, I'll check into it. I don't know who Tyler Butler is, but I'll check into it. My dog, Cutie Exec, says, did you hear about Hakeem Jeffries being linked to 2 Diddy parties with sassy cosplay themed around communism, with men dressed as Shay and Fidel being... No, I didn't know nothing about that. I'm going to have to call Myron about that. I ain't heard nothing about that. Nothing at all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, let's move over to Brooke. Oh, look. Y'all so happy to have escaped. Quentin is so happy that OKC has escaped Denver. They might win a championship. We don't know. But we going to talk about it. Shout out to my dog Quentin in the building. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. No, that ain't the one. Hold on, let me see something. Three. There we go. A Mexican ship ran into the Brooklyn Bridge, and there are multiple people missing as a result of it. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is the latest update, y'all.
New questions tonight after a ship crashed into New York City's iconic Brooklyn Bridge, killing 2 sailors.
It's not going to hit the bridge.
Those along the river watched in horror, some running away, as the Mexican Navy training ship collided with the bridge around 8:20 p.m.
What is going on? It was a Mexican Navy training ship? Oh, okay.
The Brooklyn Bridge is a critical part of New York's infrastructure, connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn, and a major tourist attraction.
Go to an all hands. They have multiple serious patients coming.
Mayor Eric Adams confirming early this morning that 2 of the 277 people on board died.
Our hearts go out to the family members, and many family members are going to be traveling here from Mexico.
A Mexican official confirming one of those killed was America Yamilet Sanchez. At least 22 others were hurt, according to the Mexican Navy. Moments before the crash, many sailors seen standing on the masts. A tugboat was seen on camera around the time of the crash. It's unclear right now what its involvement was, if any. The mayor says a mechanical mishap made the vessel lose power, and the river's strong current pushed the ship backward.
Because of the current, it looks like it ended up under the Brooklyn Bridge, and that's where the tragedy occurred, the mast.
Dramatic video shows some people dangling in the air after impact.
That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. I seen some video of it, and I seen some people that was just holding on to it. Some people fell into the water. Other people were trying to figure out if it was a stunt, if it was real, if the video was even real. And you see all of those people standing up there. That's crazy, man. Condolences to the family.
Boat was on display in New York Seaport and on its way to Iceland. Those plans put on hold now. Officials say the nearly 142-year-old bridge was not seriously damaged.
There are many more questions than
American
answers
engineering, baby,
as to how the accident occurred and whether it could have been prevented.
The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating with the New York City Police Department as they try to figure out what exactly went wrong.
Maya Eaglin is in Lower Manhattan, right near where that damaged ship is. Maya, what is next for officials here?
Hallie, we're hearing from officials that they're working on sending some of the surviving crew members back to Mexico and finding a new location for this ship so authorities can start conducting a full investigation and repairs. Hallie?
That had to be, listen, y'all not going to keep hitting me with the ship malfunction or everything or all of the stuff went out just before it started running into the Brooklyn. No. That's called incompetence. Let me go over to this other report, and then we're going to go ahead because CNN, I'm assuming, has a better understanding now that more information is coming out of exactly what happened with the ship and whether or not it did actually malfunction.
Right, happening now. Investigators are searching for the voyage data recorder, basically a ship's black box, after a Mexican naval training ship lost power and crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. 2 people are dead, more than a dozen injured. Officials say there was a mechanical issue and the captain lost steering of the vessel. We are expecting a news conference from the NTSB today. Let's get right to CNN's Gloria Pazmino near the bridge this morning. Gloria, what's the very latest?
Well, John, we're standing here at Pier 35 where the Cuauhtemoc was towed to on Saturday evening after that crash. Now, NTSB officials started arriving here yesterday afternoon, and we are expecting a briefing from them later today. The primary questions here, obviously, what happened? Was it a power failure that led to this collision between the ship and hitting that side of the underside of the bridge on Saturday evening? Another key question here is whether or not there was any role that the tugboat that was pulling the ship played during that trajectory as the ship was making its way out of the New York harbor. The Cuauhtemoc was on a worldwide goodwill mission, bringing Mexican naval culture around the world. It had been here in New York City docked for the past few days, and it has been really difficult for the Mexican community here in New York City, which has come out. They were here yesterday all day long. Some of them have been dropping off flowers in memory of those 2 people whose lives were sadly lost. We've actually learned their identities overnight. Mexican government officials have identified them as Cadet America Yamilet Sanchez, as well as Adal Jair Maldonado Marcos. We've also heard from America's family in Mexico. They are wondering what happened here and how soon they're going to get some answers. I want you to take a listen to the commissioner of the Emergency Management Office here in New York City talking about the early stages of the investigation. Take a listen.
Something happened during that period of time where the ship reportedly lost power, possibly lost steerage, and that's when it ended up going in the wrong direction towards the bridge. But that's very preliminary at this point, and there still needs to be an investigation that will take place.
Part of what investigators want to do as well, John, is make sure that this ship can be brought to dry dock so it can be repaired and sent on its way.
I remember,
also,
Jordan.
Late last night, the remainder of the crew, a little over 200 people, were actually bussed from here to John F. Kennedy Airport. They were able to get on a flight back to Mexico last night. I'm sure a relief for many of them. Some of them remain here on board, expecting that investigation to continue in the next several days.
So it looks like that it was just a malfunction. I always say user error, and it don't necessarily have to be user error when it comes to the ship's captain or losing steering or anything like that, because it probably all is true. You know, we all look at everything with a skeptical eye nowadays because we just don't trust anything. But that probably is all true. But there are supposed to be checks and balances, and you got to make sure that your equipment is functioning properly before you start to get on waters. And so condolences to the people that lost their lives. Thank God it wasn't Americans. A life lost is a life lost, though. Condolences to the families of the people that lost their lives. I'm sure when they woke up that morning, they didn't realize that they were going to lose their life. But who are you going to hold accountable for such a thing? It was an accident. Sometimes accidents are just that, accidents. There's nobody to sue. There's nobody to go after. And if you're going to go after them, make sure you go after them on Mexican soil. This is not an American ship. This don't have nothing to do with what we got going on. But it sounds like it was just a mechanical failure. Ultimately, they were... Okay, so hold on one second. Let me, because now I'm starting to make more sense of this thing. When I was looking at the video, right? If you go back to the video where you see the actual tragedy happening, let me go back to it. There are people hanging off the thing, right? Hold on, let me see if I can find a better one. There are people all across the whole
running away
thing
as the Mexican Navy training ship collided with the bridge around 8:20 p.m.
What is going on?
The Brooklyn Bridge is a critical part of New York's infrastructure, connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn, and a major tourist attraction.
Going to an all hands.
One of those killed was America Yami crash. Many sailors.
All right, they were all up there like this, right? They were up there like this. So here's my question: how soon or how much earlier did the malfunction happen prior to them actually running into the Brooklyn Bridge? Because why wouldn't they alert the people that was up there and say, hey, y'all need to start climbing down. Y'all need to start getting down. If you watch some of the videos that's on TikTok, they actually show you people that were falling into the river, the thing falling over. Some people were falling back onto the boat and stuff like that. What if... That's the question that I'm asking. If it was a mechanical failure, how come they didn't warn the people to get off of the top of the part that ran into the Brooklyn Bridge? Why did they just keep on going straight into the Brooklyn Bridge? Like, once you got close enough to the Brooklyn Bridge, why are all the people still up there? Next thing you know, you see all of these people that's hanging down from the top of it. And it's crazy. Y'all said they purposely hit the bridge. Why would they purposely hit the bridge? Always ask why. Why would they purposely hit the bridge? Why would they purposely hit the bridge? Somebody inform me. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. See, when you start to get into these things, and again, condolences to the two people that died. You start to have more questions than answers. You know what I'm saying? You start to have more questions than answers. But again, condolences to the family. I'm just glad that no additional people, no Americans, no tourists were hurt as a result of it. And I'm sure that they'll figure it out. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Unbiasedly Raw says, English test for sea captains coming soon. Tariffs. Well, they wasn't American sea captains, so that ain't got nothing to do with us. Check the bridge clearance height. I be looking at truck drivers that be running into those overpass that be too low. I look at them funny too. Anyways, let's get into the thick of things. Let's get into the real part of the show. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about now is Biden. Got to talk about it. Got to talk about it. Over the weekend, which I cannot say that I was surprised, it was news that was released that basically said that Biden was diagnosed with prostate cancer, an aggressive form of prostate cancer that went all the way down to the bone. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what's happening with Biden, y'all.
We begin tonight with breaking news as former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with what they're calling an aggressive form of prostate cancer, which has spread to his bones. This is according to his personal office. They just announced this. The 82-year-old former president's office says Biden and his family are now reviewing treatment options with his physicians. CNN senior White House reporter Betsy Klein is joining us now. And Betsy, obviously a lot of questions around this. What do we know right now?
Certainly, Jessica, a lot of questions going forward, but we know from the personal office of former President Joe Biden that the former president has been diagnosed with what they are describing as an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has metastasized to his bones. I want to read you a full statement from the former president's personal office. It says, last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9 with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The statement goes on to say that Biden and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Of course, former President Biden, at 82 years old, made history as the oldest sitting U.S. president, and there were so many concerns and scrutiny about his physical fitness to serve another 4 years, ultimately leaving the president to make the decision back in July of 2024 to drop out of the presidential race. Of course, he has contended that he believes he was indeed fit to serve. And I want to read to you a little bit from a letter from his former physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who said in a letter back in February of 2024 that Biden was fit for duty. He has sleep apnea, which is being treated. He has non-valvular fibrillation. He's being treated for high cholesterol as well as acid reflux and seasonal allergies. Of course, we have asked the White House, the Trump administration, as well as a spokesperson for Dr. Biden, the First Lady, for comment and reaction to this concerning news. Some signs of optimism, of course, that this type of prostate cancer can be responding to, it says it appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. But again, quite concerning that it has indeed spread to his bones. Now, the former president has maintained a relatively low profile since leaving office in January, but we have started to see him reemerge on the world stage. He attended the funeral of Pope Francis back on April 26th, and then on May 8th, he was featured as a guest on The View alongside the former First Lady Jill Biden. Now, we do not know where the former president is being treated, but he is in Wilmington this weekend with family, according to a source familiar. And of course, cancer and curing cancer is something that is so near and dear to the former president. Back during the Obama administration, after his son Beau Biden died of glioblastoma, an aggressive brain cancer, the then vice president established the Cancer Moonshot, which was an initiative with a goal of ending cancer as we know it. It was reestablished in 2022. So again, very concerning news, some signs of optimism, but we will be tracking this quite closely, reaching out to all of our sources, Jessica, and bringing you the latest updates as we get them.
So Biden is 82 years old. First of all, let me just say that I don't wish cancer on anybody. I have to say that first. I have to preface this uncomfortable conversation that we're about to have by saying that I don't care what his political stance was. I'm not concerned right now about whether I agree with his time in office. His time in office is his time in office. What he did while he was president of the United States of America and while he served as a public servant for 50 years will be evaluated. That is going to be evaluated. That is going to go down in the history books. That is a conversation that we're always going to have. I am always going to appeal to the humanity side of things by saying that I don't wish cancer on anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. I don't care if I agreed with you or I disagreed with you. I do not wish cancer on people. And I am not going to take this opportunity to beat a dead horse and say that I didn't agree with him or anything like that. Yes, we do have to have an uncomfortable conversation, and I plan on having that uncomfortable conversation once we bring in another clip that actually speaks to exactly what a doctor's assessment of this is. But the first thing that I want to say is I feel bad for him. I don't wish cancer on anybody, and it's unfortunate that we have to deal with cancer in the first place. So I'm gonna leave that there. All right. The question that I have to ask myself is, if it is all the way down to the bone and it's aggressive form of cancer, aside from his age, aside from his obvious failing health, you guys do realize that there were people around him every single day that seen his state, the state that he was in, and they were actually pushing for this guy to become president of the United States of America. I believe it was a bigger play, and I'm gonna share that play with you shortly. But before I do, let's get the rest of the assessment from the doctor that is now speaking on exactly what he thinks his situation is. And let's get more details, and then I'm going to tell you what I think the truth is.
Let's bring in Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News senior medical analyst. Let me read again from that news release that we got from former President Biden's office, Doctor. It says he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. That doesn't sound good, Doctor.
Gleason 9, John, means that it's in a very aggressive form of cancer. And group 5 means that within that, it's the most aggressive type. That means it has the highest risk of spread, which obviously he has had. He's presenting with urinary symptoms, and I want the viewer to know that most of the time, prostate cancer would be asymptomatic. When it reaches the point where you already have urinary symptoms, that's also a sign that it's pretty far advanced. When they say that it is hormone responsive, that likely means that they think by decreasing testosterone.
People really putting winning an election above his health. It's all relevant, Dean. And I'm going to explain to you why it's relevant and why people are not wrong for talking about the election over his health, or why they are having this conversation about the election with his health.
It can be a testosterone-dependent cancer that it will respond. The two types of therapy they use for that is one called Lupron, which stops testosterone production, and the other is a drug called Casodex or like Casodex, which stops testosterone from binding. They also might decide, and I don't know this, but sometimes they decide to do more than one therapy. They might try to take the prostate out, do radiation and the hormone therapy all together. That's not uncommon. Over 80% of men over the age of 80 have some prostate cancer cells in their body. So this is a very high likelihood in all men. And if it's this far advanced, meaning Gleason 9 metastasized to the bone, the 5-year survival rate is somewhere between 30 and 40%. Again, depending on how well he responds to therapy. One of the questions on everyone's mind, and you just heard this from the reporter, is what about last year's PSA? You know, this was found by physical examination, by a prostate exam. A lot of times we find an elevation in prostate-specific antigen, a PSA, and then we go after it, get an MRI. I mean, he must have had the best possible care here. I'm a little taken aback that it's this far advanced and very, very concerned about it.
Yeah, that's the question I was.
Okay, so Marie says the Harris reporter should be pissed. If he had have stepped down, she would have been the first black woman president. Now, you don't believe that, do you? You don't believe that. You do not believe that if he would have stepped down, she would have been the first black woman president. Let me tell you what I believe. Let me go ahead and get this off my screen. And let's have an uncomfortable conversation. Again, prayers up for them. I don't wish this on anybody, but let me tell you what I truly believe. I believe that the play all along, and the only way that she was ever going to become president of the United States of America, is for them to push him through, knowing what his diagnosis was, so that she ultimately would by default become president of the United States of America. I believe that Joe Biden was the only hope that the Democrats had in beating Trump. And the reality was, once they realized after the debate that it wasn't going to happen, they used him as a scapegoat in order to try to blame her failure on Joe Biden, when in reality, I believe that every single Democrat, not only did they know, but they was aware of it, they supported it, they pushed it, and that the play was to ultimately allow for her to become president of the United States of America by default. He always had this, and you're not going to tell me that the president of the United States of America, who regularly gets checkups, who has the best and the greatest doctors around him on a regular basis, who also covered up his memory failure or whatever it is that you want to label it, you're going to tell me that this aggressive form of cancer at this stage that is this much forward, you're going to tell me that they didn't know that this was happening? That nobody knew? Eric D., are you in your right mind going to tell me that you believe that they just discovered this a few months after the November election? December, January, February, March. You telling me that they just discovered this 4 months? 4 months ago? The election was 4 months ago. You telling me they just discovered it now? Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. This thing is so far advanced, and he is with all of the health issues and all of the doctors, and he just said, oh man, I just had a checkup and everything's great. I just had a checkup. You're telling me that they didn't know? Nobody knew. They just discovered it yesterday. They just discovered it yesterday? Come on, family. Come on, man. All of these Democrats, all of these cover-ups, everybody that was there, they need to be held accountable. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Not even a little bit. I don't even think that Joe Biden has been coherent for the last 3 to 4 years. When Joe Biden first got elected in 2021, when he took office, he looked crazy. He looked like he didn't have a clue. He didn't have a clue at all. You telling me that they didn't know that he had an aggressive cancer was already this far along? Trump just took a test. They did extensive tests on him. In the debate, Trump was looking at him like, man, he don't even know where he at. Honest to God. If you go back and you watch that debate between him and Trump, he looked like he didn't even know where he was at. After the debate, when he was getting off the steps, he looked crazy. He always got a handler. He always got his wife with him. The question that I'm asking myself is, and I think that we're going to keep answering it, we got to keep asking this question, who was running the White House? Who was running the White House? Listen, I'm going to have that conversation more extensively because there's more information that's being dropped. Who was running the White House? And if you don't believe that this was the play, listen, Joe Biden was either going to become a martyr or he was going to become the scapegoat, or both. In my opinion, Biden was going to become a martyr. That's what he wound up being, because they blaming Joe Biden and they forcing him to take responsibility. He's not even coherent. And they forcing him to take responsibility for Kamala Harris losing, because they only care about maintaining. If you think that let me tell you how evil the Democrat Party is. If you think that the Democrat Party give a flying F about Joe Biden, I got a bridge to sell you. If you think that the Democrat Party care anything about Joe Biden, they will eat their own, and that's exactly what they're doing. They will eat their own, and that is exactly what they're doing. They use that man. He probably ain't even coherent. If you look at and you play what his thoughts was and what he was communicating during his time as vice president to advocate for Obama to become president of the United States of America, he never even had the same thoughts that he have now. He never had the same mindset. He never communicated the same way. He was different. He was a completely different person. He believed in closed borders. There's videos of him being the opposite. Joe Biden was a completely different Democrat than what we seen from 2021 through 2025. He was a completely different Democrat. He was not this at all. He is 100% being used. Eric D., you got to remove your bias. You got to remove your bias on this one, bro. To be so selfish that even his wife, who I believe that she's in on it, and bro, you don't even need no enemies if you got a wife that's willing to put you out there and be able to be used the way that he's used. They sat here and told us that Joe Biden would be fit to serve as president of the United States of America and that he should be reelected. And y'all went for it. We never believed this. No Republican, and even George Clooney said, all right, listen, I'm a pretty liberal guy. The jig is up. The jig is up. The jig is up. Everybody, casual observers on the internet was able to spot this. Nobody in their circle was able to spot it. Nobody did all of the tests. Nobody said, hey, we need to figure it out. And they just now discovered it within the last week. Man, get out of here, bro. Listen, y'all not gonna sit here and finesse me. You're not gonna finesse me. Ray Charles could see this. Ray Charles could see this. This was a play, in my opinion, for them to control, push through everything that they can, steal as much money as they can, get as many immigrants over here as they can, finesse as much as they can, and then ultimately use him to get her to become president of the United States of America. Because ain't no way on God's green earth that any of y'all actually believe that he was fit to serve, to do another term, to do another four. Imagine a level of destruction we would have faced if Biden had been president for another 4 years. Good God. Good God. Everybody needs to be investigated. Everybody needs to be investigated. And it's sad because this ain't nothing but another form of elder abuse. This is nothing but elder abuse. This is sad. Crazy. Can't believe us. We are straight up. We will eat our own to make a couple extra dollars. Joe Biden was a sacrifice. That's why they did that. Thank you, Joe. They already had the signs printed at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. They already had the signs printed. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Don't worry, we gonna deep dive into who was really in charge tomorrow. Make sure y'all subscribed. Make sure y'all part of the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's continue on with the show. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Joe didn't hear another word that y'all said. You got 5 months, tops. Got the best doctors in the world, and they just now discovered it. Get out of here. As a person with stage 4 cancer, and you know I got your back. I am familiar with that already, Phoenix. And as horrible as he was as a president, I don't wish this illness on anyone, even Biden. Prayers to all that suffer. Shout out to my girl. Prayers up for you, Phoenix. And I know that you've been rocking with us for a long time, and you know we always praying for you. Brando says, what up, though? Shout out to you, Brando. I appreciate you. Just Christian says, I wonder if they caught it during his colonoscopy in 2021 and just hid the information from us and tried to treat it then. Listen, if they caught it in 2021, what you thought that they was going to tell us? They had work to do. They had agendas to push. Things to make money off of. Marcella O says, good morning, AD. Today I'm going to meet with hospital executives and do an 8-building walkthrough to bid for a huge cleaning contract with them. I have my corporate casual outfit ready to go. Wish me luck. Hey, y'all. Prayers up for my girl, Marcella. We know that you're going to get it, and if you didn't get it or if you don't get it, then I know that God has something better for you, or it wasn't meant for you, or it wasn't a good contract. Prayers up for you. Brando says, never agree with Biden, but I hope he gets better. He 82, bro. 82. Thomas Taylor says he would have stepped down and Kamala would have been president. That's a fact. Danny Shade says, I believe they've been knew this, and we just now finding out about it to help cloak the fact that they knew he had dementia as well. They're covering their butts. Just dropping the information. Jason A-Team says, and they just so happened to drop it at the time that the book came out of them talking about everybody knowing that he had memory loss. The way they ran his administration, they used him to play in our faces almost to a demonic point. They believe we are all stupid and will go along. I'm not going for it, Jason. Kim One says, how long have other nations known this? Is this why Putin invaded? Is this why things played out the way that they did? Trump said Putin saw Biden as being weak, and he was weak. Purple Haze says, that makes you think who was pushing all of those things through before Trump took office. Shadow Dragon TV says the ex-DNC chair, Lindy Lee, says Joe Biden was the president during Joe's term. They knew he was incoherent long before this. Oh, we're going to deep dive into it tomorrow. We're going to really get into it. Yeah, I hope y'all tuned in for the whole week because I'm going to be in the studio cooking up. I may take a weekend trip somewhere. If I was to go somewhere during the weekend, because I'm not going to go to Puerto Rico. If I was to go somewhere during the weekend, where would y'all suggest that I go? Somebody in the chat pick a spot before we go over to the next part of the show. Pick a place that I need to go this weekend. Where would I go? All right, y'all. Look, y'all already talking crazy. I like Molly. Molly said Vegas. Listen, think about it from this lens, y'all. It's only for a weekend. I got to get back here by Monday. If I go anywhere, if I'm taking a weekend trip, 2-3 days tops, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday or something, come back Sunday evening, where am I going for a weekend? Everybody know, including Russia. Thailand? No, I'm not going to no Thailand. All right, y'all. All right, so let me add in another caveat. If I go somewhere for the weekend, it has to be weather dependent. I don't want to go nowhere that's dusty weather-wise. So where am I going for the weekend? San Antonio? San Antonio sounds cool. What's the weather in San Antonio? Not the Dominican Republic. Too many people over there being passport bros. Washington, D.C. Nope, because that's where the meetup is going to be in June. Not Washington. Alabama. What part of Alabama? It's getting hot in Texas. I like heat. Louisville for some whiskey. Vegas. I like Vegas. I like San Antonio. Not Houston. I've been to Houston a lot. Mackinac Island. They ain't got no cars up there. Haiti. Somebody said Haiti. Never been to San Diego, but if I go to San Diego, then I would probably go Biloxi. I love Biloxi. San Antonio was 81. South Carolina is sunny this weekend, says Mimi. Galveston, Texas. Cloudy in San Antonio, but come on. I'm thinking maybe San Antonio. Alabama, Biloxi, Mississippi. It's 100 plus in San Antonio. Y'all said it's 81. So is it 100 or is it 81? Oakland, it's the armpit of America. I got love for Oakland, honestly. I got love for Oakland. I got a lot of people from Detroit over in Oakland. Boise. Aspen, Colorado. St. Lucia. Y'all got some good ideas. I tell you what. If I wind up going somewhere this weekend, I'll play a game. I should know. I'll make a decision by tonight or tomorrow. And then when we do the Millionaire Morning Show, I'm going to start early. I'm going to ask the people, and whatever it is that I decide, I'm going to go based off of what y'all say if I decide to go somewhere. Whatever it is that y'all decide, then I'll give $100 to the person that tell me where it is that I'm going. All right? How about that? So if y'all not in a Millionaire Morning Show early tomorrow morning, I don't want to hear nothing from y'all. You can have Oakland. Now, listen, I know that Oakland is suffering. I've done a lot of videos on it, but it's some people in Oakland that I rock with. Oakland and Detroit, we rock with each other. Oakland and Detroit, we rock with each other. San Antonio, I'm really leaning towards San Antonio. Really leaning towards Cheyenne, Wyoming. Is there any direct flights from Detroit to Cheyenne, Wyoming? What up to Aaron L? What up to everybody in the chat? All right, y'all, we're going to figure it out. Somebody says I wouldn't select the black tee if you come into Texas. That's my uniform. Listen, I always keep me a black tee. That's my uniform. Rolex watch, Gucci shoes, black Levi's, black t-shirt, and pretty teeth. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. North Dakota? Is North Dakota warm right now? If I go somewhere, I don't know if I'm going to go anywhere. We'll see. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's go over to the next thing. So Trump, we're going to go a couple different Trump subjects, and then we're going to talk about being on welfare. Let me look at my list. Trump. Yeah, let's talk about a couple different Trump subjects. So his big, beautiful bill is advancing through a committee, and let's go over that. Let's spend 10 minutes on that. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Fox and Friends first here on a Monday morning. I'm Todd Pyro.
And I'm Carly Shimkus. Lawmakers are now one step closer to delivering on President Trump's agenda after the House Budget Committee advanced the mega bill late last night in a very narrow vote.
Madeline Rivera live in Washington with the latest. Hey, Maddie.
Good morning, Carly and Todd. This is a victory for now for the supporters of the big, beautiful bill, allowing the legislation to head to the Rules Committee later this week. But some GOP hardliners indicate the bill is still going to need changes before it clears the House. The House Budget Committee's vote to advance the bill is a turnaround after 4 GOP hardliners rejected it on Friday. Some of their concerns included Medicaid work requirements and spending. House Speaker Mike Johnson said there were a lot of conversations over the weekend to try and address these issues. The final tally overnight was 17-16, with the holdouts voting present, which is essentially a refusal to take sides. It lets the bill move forward.
Look, all 11 of our committees have wrapped up their work, and they spent less and saved more than even we projected initially. You're going to have historic savings for the American people, historic tax relief for American workers, historic investments in border security, at the same time that we're restoring American energy dominance.
As for what type of assurances these holdouts got, they include speeding up the timeline for those Medicaid work requirements and reducing some of the green energy tax subsidies under the Biden administration. But the committee chair says there were no actual changes to the bill before the vote.
I didn't make any commitments other than the commitment to call another vote to give them the opportunity to allow this to move to the next phase in the process. I can tell you there were no changes. We voted on the same roll-up of all the reconciliation bills from the respective committees that we considered on Friday with no changes on it.
Representative Ralph Norman, one of the fiscal hawks, says they got assurances in writing. Representative Chip Roy warning on X the bill still does not meet the moment. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will hold a press briefing at 9 a.m. Eastern time today. We will see what she has to say about this vote.
All right, let me switch over to CNBC because I want to look at it from a financial perspective. And there's another part of this that I want to talk about. Moody's downgraded the United States of America's credit rating. And so we're going to deep dive into that in a minute also. Let's go into CNBC's take on this.
House Republicans are moving ahead with their push to advance President Trump's agenda following a stumble late last week. Emily Wilkins joins us right now with the latest and a lot of late night hours. Emily.
There are a lot of late night hours, Becky, and there is some more to come this week. But the big headline today is that Trump's mega bill and that tax package, it cleared yet another hurdle after a weekend of intense negotiations between Republican leadership and fiscal hawks. But at this point, Trump mega bill, it still lacks the support to be able to pass in the House. The 4 Republicans who blocked the bill on Friday, they just haven't gotten to yes as of last night. Congressman Chip Roy, Ralph Norman, Andrew Clyde, and Josh Brecheen, they all voted present, so they allowed the bill to pass, but the holdouts were making a statement there that they want to see more of the cuts to clean energy tax credits and cuts to Medicaid start sooner than the timeline sets out in the current bill. The House Freedom Caucus also released a statement last night saying that as written, the bill continues increased deficits in the near term with possible savings years down the road that may never materialize. The statement goes on to say that even after negotiations, the bill fails to actually honor our promise to significantly correct the spending trajectory of the federal government and lead our nation towards a balanced budget.
So let me tell you what this means. And then I want to go over into the Moody's downgrading of the U.S.'s perfect credit rating, because that's something that we have to talk about. All right. So essentially what this means is that, first of all, what it means is that Democrats aren't doing anything. Democrats are just hanging around. They're doing TikToks. They're becoming content creators. They're going on tour, on the oligarchy tours. They're going on late night talk shows. And so this isn't even a conversation that Democrats are having. They're not participatory in it. Republicans don't even need them to negotiate, but it would be great if they actually did their job and they participated and they did what they was getting paid to do. Now, all that aside, what this really means is there are Republicans that want to advance the bill based off of the idea that we need to invest in America while at the same time doing the necessary cuts to be able to advance the bill and satisfy the American people. There are other Republicans that are saying, well, wait a minute. I understand we are advancing in America, but we're not doing enough in making sure that we're making the cuts that we need so that we can balance the budget effectively. Because what we are basically asking for is a temporary increase in the debt limit so that we can spend more money incentivizing companies and investing in America versus just having a balanced budget. So we want to invest to make more money so that long term we'll generate more revenue and we pay down the debt faster. That is the pitch from some Republicans. Other Republicans are saying, and that is the pitch from Trump also. Other Republicans are saying, wait, we not doing enough to cut more so that we limit the spending and we maybe don't even need to really increase the debt limit as much as we say that we are. So that is the real fight that is happening amongst Republicans, okay? Republicans are trying to determine how much money that we need to spend and what cuts do we still need to make. Democrats aside, we all know that they just want to spend, and they want all of these social programs. And we do plan on getting into social programs in a couple segments of the show. But that is the fight amongst Republicans is, are we making the right investments? Are we cutting enough? And is this going to satisfy our constituents that ultimately are the people that picked us to be representatives inside of the committee in the first place? All right. The other side of this that we have to have a conversation about is Moody's credit rating. Let's talk about it.
Moody's has lowered the United States credit rating because of an increase of government.
And I always like to use different platforms. So we use Fox Business, we use CNBC, and then we go over to CNN and MSNBC, and we hope that they give a fair assessment of the situation and reporting the news and not just giving their opinion or being able to separate both. But that has no bearing on it. We just want the information and we want to speak to it. Let's talk about it.
Debt. Let's get right now to NBC's Christine Romans, who covers business. Christine, what can you tell us and how
That's not what it means. Antoine Johnson, that's not what it means. Downgraded credit rating means you can't borrow no more money. Good. No, that's not what it means. Come on back to the front of the congregation. I need you to learn how government works. I need you to understand how credit works. It's not what it means. It means that you pay more on the interest for the debt that you already have. That's what it means. It means you pay more on the interest of the debt that you already have, which also factors into why Trump is putting so much pressure on Jerome Powell. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Come on, y'all. Let's get up to speed.
Significant might this be?
Yeah, lowering it by one notch. And here's the problem. The problem is the amount of debt the United States holds and the deficits that the U.S. government consistently runs. And Moody's saying over the past decade, this situation has gotten worse. And in fact, the ability to pay interest on that debt is a real problem. Forecasting that you'll see what's called a debt to GDP ratio of something like 134%. That's bad. These are big debt numbers. So really kind of a warning saying that other countries of the United States' size and financial stability do not have this kind of a debt, but noting that the United States is still the most sought after place to invest money, and to, the Treasury Department, to Treasury bonds, still the most sought after investment in the world. So it's sort of like going from an A+ to an A, I think, with the warning that things could get worse down the road if Congress doesn't take this seriously.
So essentially what this is a warning to the people that are controlling the purse strings of the United States of America. Let me say it again. This is a warning to the people that are controlling the purse strings of the United States of America. Who controls the purse strings of the United States of America? Congress. So while they are mad at Elon Musk for creating the Department of Government Efficiency to make sure that we eliminate the fraud, waste, and abuse, Moody's is sending a warning to Congress and saying, listen, we have to, over the next few years, at least over the next 3 to 8 years, make sure that we are taking care of business and that we are not overspending, or we're putting the United States of America on a path to solvency and lowering the national deficit. Why? Because we're already spending $1 to $2 trillion in interest payments. That has nothing to do. That means when we pay our tax dollars and you create this budget and we put this budget together and we got to fund the military and we got to fund all the police and the universities and all of this stuff, while they're saying, no, just leave everybody on the tax rolls, Moody's and credit rating agencies are saying, Congress, control your hoe. Congress, control your hoe. Eric D says, Anton, which party controls Congress? Well, Republicans now control all 3 branches of government, and this is why when Trump was elected, it was important for us to give Congress, give our House, give all 3 branches of government to be able to pass these bills through so that we can do whatever it is that we need to do. Now, within the last 4 months, well, not even the last 4 months, within the last 4 months, Republicans now control Congress. But the rating is not based off of who controls Congress. The ratings is based off of what we've experienced over the last 20 years. Our ability to pay off debt or to pay down the debt or to service our debt is the responsibility of the Congress that we've elected over the past 20 to 30 years. So we can say, okay, well, Republicans control Congress now. That's right. And that's why we elected them, to solve for this problem that we've had and that we got going on for a long time. But here's my real question for you guys. Why didn't we have a Department of Government Efficiency before? I heard Jasmine Crockett say before, well, we already have a watchdog group to make sure that we audit Congress or we audit our spending and all of this stuff. So why didn't they do it? Why didn't they do it? What am I reaching for? What am I reaching for? What did I say that wasn't true? Which part of what I said wasn't true? That's the goal, is to fix it, Eric D. That's why we say America is closed for business. We don't want to send any money over to other countries. We should not be funding proxy wars and sending weapons and funding over to Ukraine. This is why it's important for us to have peace throughout the world and have better trade deals, because all of it is coming out of American taxpayer dollars, and we need to make sure that we eliminate our debt, pay down our debt, operate at a surplus instead of a deficit, so that we can then get a higher upgrade, which lowers our ability, or it raises our ability to pay off the debt by lowering our interest rate. And it allows for us to be solvent as the United States of America, so that our children and our children's children will have a better future. What is it that I'm off about? What we're basically saying is we want our taxpayer dollars, and we want accountability for where every dollar is going, and we need to cut spending, and we need to raise income. That's what's basically happening. And we got to do it for the generations that come after us. We can't just do it for us. We got to do it for the generations that come after us. We got to leave this place in a better space than had we been here. It's not really that difficult of a thing to put together. It's the same thing that your credit is. If you got less than 740, 750, your interest rates is going to be higher. If you get less than a 670, then it's going to go higher. And if you go less than 540, 550, then you're going to be a subprime borrower. We got to lower the amount that we spending on stuff that we don't need and increase the investments in the thing that's going to generate us more revenue. That's basically what it is. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go from there. Because I want to get into Walmart. I want to get into tariffs. I want to get into Walmart. Yes, Congress was supposed to be the watchdog group that controlled our spending, but we all know how that went. That's why I don't have no respect for Bernie Sanders. Keep on talking all of this nonsense. It's like, bro, you can go on as many tours as you want. You've been in Congress forever. And what have you done? I don't want to hear none of that stuff. Whiskey Pierre says, Anton, blessings as a person that had a child with cancer. This is absolutely horrible. And I just hope they don't use this to push the next campaign in 2000. Oh, yes, they will. Everybody is going to push all campaigns. Martha's Vineyard for the 4th of July or August. No, I'm talking about this weekend, big dog. Forget that. Flew to Toronto Saturday, picked up my Land Dweller. I have to admit, it's amazing. Oh, you got the Land Dweller? You got the new Rolex Land Dweller? I can't believe you got the Land Dweller. Let me text. Have the watch people ask about the Rolex. You already got it? I didn't even know it was out yet. I didn't know it was out yet. I got to get it. I got to get it. Which one did you get? Which one did you get? Careful in Colorado, the Kelly Loving Act was just passed. If you call a man dressed like a woman a man, you can face consequences. I'm going to call him by their name. Maurice. You know what I'm saying? If his name is Maurice, then I'm going to call him by their name. Your mama named you Maurice. Shout out to Maurice Neal. Says, what up, Anton and the Bag Chasers? Don't usually be on the live. Trump is investigating Kamala Harris' campaign on endorsements, as he should. As he should. Everybody needs to be investigated now. The same way they investigated Trump is the way that he needs to be investigating them. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turn on your notifications. Let's get into this next part of the show. All right. Trump is telling Walmart that they need to eat the tariffs, allegedly. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Let's look at it from a couple different lenses.
Walmart says their first quarter profits slipped and they have to raise their prices as a result of the tariffs, threatening their low price model.
The prices are just too on the high side. It's on the high side, especially for middle class, low income earners. It's tough. When you have 2-3 children, groceries.
But it's the reality for consumers across the country. Walmart is the latest retailer to announce price hikes due to the rising tariffs on China and other countries imposed by the Trump administration.
If these tariffs prove to be permanent, they will probably likely reevaluate that supply chain and find and source products from other countries that have perhaps lower tariffs to basically ensure that they can, continue to call themselves a low price retailer.
Towson University economist Darius Irani says the tariffs have been lowered from 145% to 30%, but the effect on consumers is still the same.
145% is effectively sort of a blockade, an embargo, because at that price, at that level of tariffs, it becomes almost, it's not profitable at all to import those goods. 30%, there's still a margin to be made, but some of that increase in cost will be borne by the consumers.
Shoppers say they've already noticed prices going up because of inflation, and they say they are feeling the pinch.
Things that I used to buy, don't really buy them anymore, or I cut down on, most of my list.
Families say they're tightening their belts as best they can, but there's only so much they can do without. They're not looking forward to more price hikes.
Remember, this is not the only thing we got to do. We got clothing, we got to pay bills, we got to pay electricity, we got to pay car insurance.
Well, listen, if you don't like it, then you're going to go ahead and go back to where you came from. That's what I stand on. I don't like nobody sitting there telling me what it is that we need to be doing inside of America and complaining and with the scrunch face. I don't like it. I said the same thing, Western 108. Is this Walmart in Africa or what? Why? What is all of these people that keep coming on there with these guys? And listen, don't worry about it. I rock with everybody. I'm not discriminatory, but all I'm saying is I don't really listen to people that's not from here telling me what it is that it needs to happen here with our president. Can you even vote is my question. Can you even vote? Now that we got that part out the way, the first thing that I want to say is, when did y'all start caring so much about whether or not Walmart was so successful and great? Let her make it, Anton? All right, cool. When did we start caring about big box retailers? I remember 25 years ago. People in different communities were trying to block Walmart from being able to build stores because it effectively hurt other small businesses and retailers that they had to depend against. Y'all was just trying to boycott Walmart. Now y'all sitting there advocating for them because you're saying that the prices is high. I thought, now correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be off on this. I thought that y'all didn't care about big box retailers because they put out of business all of the smaller retailers and the people that was of the community that owned their own businesses. Now y'all care about Walmart? Now y'all care about lower prices guaranteed? Walmart killed Kmart and ain't nobody say nothing. Walmart killed Sears, ain't nobody say nothing. Walmart killed Bubba Gump's meat market over here and there, and they killed the local community over there, and nobody tripped. Nobody said nothing. Guess what? If you wake up on a weekend, on a Saturday or Sunday, and I know that this happens in multiple cities. If you wake up on the weekend, like here in Detroit, we got Eastern Market, and Eastern Market has existed forever. You can get prices lower than Walmart. Well, Anton, how can you get prices lower than Walmart? Because you're going directly to the source of the places that farm this stuff. You're going to get the fresh fruit, the fresh strawberries, right? All of the things. You can actually shop at a farmer's market. You could shop directly from the people that buy the things, the people that make the eggs and all of this stuff. You don't have to shop at a big box retailer. You said Anton is gaslighting. How am I gaslighting? I haven't even gotten to the part where Trump is telling them to eat the tariffs. That's the next video that I'm about to drop. How am I gaslighting? Y'all now are worshiping big box retailers when these are the same retailers that put y'all out of business. Y'all was just boycotting Walmart the other day. I don't care either way because I believe in capitalism. I believe that you have to compete. That if you are a small business that you got to figure out a way to market yourself more effectively. What I'm asking is from the shopper's perspective, why do y'all care so much about the success of Walmart? Why do y'all care? So y'all desperate for them to sell y'all cheap products? Do you even understand how the grocery model works? Do you understand why Walmart is actually selling 25% of all groceries in the United States of America? Every single person that buys groceries, 1 out of every 4 items that is sold from a grocery perspective is sold out of Walmart. I bet you didn't even know that. Do you know that there are places that Walmart don't even exist and they doing just fine and nobody's complaining about it? Did you know that there are places that don't even have cars and they are doing just fine and nobody? Mackinac Island, they don't even have cars. Mackinac Island here in Michigan, you got to take a ferry or a boat to get to it. There are no vehicles on the road. And if you want to get around, you got to walk, you got to go by horseback, or you got to get a scooter or something like that. But they don't even have cars on Mackinac Island. No Walmarts in sight. No Walmarts in sight. And guess what? They doing just fine. Just fine. But we got to make sure that we get that cheap Chinese product. Got to get that cheap Chinese product that's giving us cancer. Mass produced. They don't even make money off groceries. They don't even make money off groceries. Walmart used grocery as a loss leader. The margin is so thin that they use it as a loss leader in order to get you in there to buy stuff that you don't even need. Anyways, let's move over into the next part where
children are got to go to school. We got to give them money and all that. So, I mean, it's a whole lot.
Well, Malik Two Turn says prices are way too high, Anton. Just admit it. Admit what? Prices is too high for who? Who are you talking to? Price too high for who? What are the prices do? Look. Let me tell you something. The minute that you give up getting your nails done and spending $100, $200, and $300 on your nails and your mani and pedi, I seen a woman. This is honest to God truth, no lie. I seen a woman on the internet, and I'm gonna do a review video on her. Probably drop it today. I seen a woman on one clip say that price is too high. On the next clip, she said that she spends over $1,000 a month on self-care. If I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. I seen a woman, and she don't even cook for herself. I seen a woman that sat there and complained about prices. On another video, she then said that she spends over $1,000 a month on self-care. Massages, makeup, all of this stuff. Am I capping or no? Because please, you know you can't gaslight me. Don't front. Don't front. You know it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Tonight, President Trump is warning Walmart against raising prices, telling the nation's biggest retailer and grocer to, quote, eat the tariffs. The president returned to Washington, D.C. last night, wrapping up a three-nation trip to the Middle East. CBS's Willie James Enman is at the White House with the details. Willie James.
Jerika, good evening to you. The president spent the day here at the White House out of sight as he faces pushback on his so-called big, beautiful bill and tariffs.
This weekend, President Trump warning the nation's largest retailer against raising prices. Posting on Truth Social, Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason. He then added the retailer and China should eat the tariffs. The post comes 2 days after Walmart CEO Doug McMillon warned on a quarterly earnings call that prices may rise amid the president's trade war with China and other nations.
Even at the reduced levels, the higher tariffs will result in higher prices.
Walmart is a bellwether of U.S. consumer health. In a statement to CBS News, the company said, "We'll keep prices as low as we can for as long as we can, given the reality of small retail margins."
It's a tax that consumers won't see directly in their receipt.
Walmart customers we spoke to are divided on the effect of the tariffs.
I think in the long run, it may have a good impact. Price increase is always worrisome.
Also this weekend, tensions building on Capitol.
How come everybody that they interview got an accent or they not from here? Or why do they speak English as a second and a third language? Every single person that they I don't want to hear that.
Hill as a handful of conservative Republicans revolt over the so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
There were 16 ayes and 21 noes.
5 Republicans on the House Budget Committee voting with all Democrats against the GOP proposal, which includes $880 billion in cuts to social programs. Conservatives say the bill does not go far enough to reduce spending.
We're going to talk about social programs coming up. Here's my thing. And this is a crazy idea. This is an insane idea. I don't remember the last time that I actually shopped for groceries or anything other than to pick up a prescription from Walmart. There's other stores. We have local grocery stores here. We have a Myers. We got Aldi. If they decide that they want to raise prices, then there's other alternatives for y'all to shop at. You do know that, right? It's a competitive market. I don't think that Trump can tell them what to do when it comes to their business model. That is their business model. And so, I think that they should take that with a grain of salt and do what they feel like is best for their business. The consumers are going to determine who the winners are, and that's what happens when you live in a capitalistic market. I think that the market is going to determine who wins and who loses. And for some reason, I think that Walmart is going to be just fine. I don't think that Walmart is going to suffer or go out of business. Travis Allen says, Anton, everyone has a monthly balance and spikes don't help. So what? Then that means you got to make an adjustment. That's what happens in life. That's what happens in life. When the rent goes up, you either find somewhere else to live or you cut back on something else or you go and make more money or you do all three. Either find somewhere else to live or make some more money or cut back on something else. That's the way of the world. That's the way of inflation. When you go and you ask for a raise in order to meet the inflation levels and you say, I need a raise of this much from your job, you don't give a F about where the job is getting it from. You like, listen, no, the value that I add to this country, to this company is A. This is how much I need my raise to be. You can go and figure it out. Listen, if you want to cut five workers out of the call center in order to give me my raise, then we're going to have to figure out a way to be more efficient. But I'm definitely not going. How many of y'all took a haircut voluntarily at your job to save the company? When I go into a company, I don't care about whether you're profitable, unprofitable, whether you're going through things. I want my money. I don't care what is going on. I don't care who. Anton, would you like to take a pay cut in order to save jobs? Nope. They'll find new jobs. It's the way of the world. I done been laid off a bunch of times before. 2008 was rough. We survived it, and we thriving. We learned some lessons. We got some new skills. We made some adjustments. Anton, No, I seen all of them women in the call center wearing bonnets anyway. They need to go ahead and get a different job. No, I'm not taking a haircut. That's the way of the world. Capitalism is not perfect. Capitalism is not perfect, but it works. It works better than any other society, any other country, and all of that. It just is what it is. Anton, but my budget is tight. Well, look like you need to get a new job. You need to level up. Stop working the same job that you've been working since you was 18 years old. That job was for teenagers. You wasn't supposed to still be there. But my budget is messed up. Looks like it's time to level up. Time to level up. We live in the United States of America. You should have been taking one class every semester since you've been here. They pay, your job paid for it. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Your job paid for you to take classes. You decided not to take classes. Now you worried about getting laid off. That's the way of the world. The market is turning. People want a different type of car. They want a different type of engine. They want a different type of product. You don't serve the market anymore. You are not owed the job. You need to adjust to whatever the market is doing. I can't take my girl out. My 5 kids need to be fed. Who told you to have 5 kids? I knew it was going to be expensive because I was paying attention to how much it costs to raise 1 kid. I intentionally only had 1 kid because I wasn't sure how rich I was going to be or how long it was going to take me to get there. And I didn't want to put my resources into 7 kids. So I only had 1. Thought about not having any. Glad I only had 1. Glad I only had 1. Listen, kids take money. We don't owe your funky kids anything. And so we're going to be careful about where we put our resources. Your kids ain't one of them. I don't care about your kids. That's a you problem, not a me problem. That's a you problem, not a me problem. It's expensive in New York City. Why you in New York City? Go move to somewhere cheaper. And ain't nobody like New York, though, because we got a winning basketball team. Okay, we'll pay the price to be there. America is huge, and there are some cheaper, much, much cheaper places to live. You don't want to live there because you don't feel like you got enough motion and ain't no holes there. Well, guess what? It costs to be in the middle of New York City. I do not want to permanently move to Miami. You know why? Because I don't want that much of my money going over to living in Miami. It ain't enough in Miami for me. For other people, it makes sense. For other people, and I'm not telling other people that they can't move to Miami, but the way that Anton want to do, I don't want to spend $40,000 to live where I want to live. I would rather stay where I am, and I'm doing just fine. We doing just fine where we are. I'll go and visit, and I'm going to go home. I'm good. I'm good. I'll go and visit. I want more of my money to be set aside for the things that I want to do. I don't want to go over there. So I know, okay, so I'm going to pull back on this, and this is where we're going to put more money on that. I don't want to live where you want to live. I don't feel like I need to be there. I think it's more motion in these other places. Maybe you don't need to go to Disney World this year. Maybe you need to go to Cedar Point for one day. Instead of spending $20,000 for the whole family to go to Disney World, time to go to Cedar Point. And it only takes us 2 hours to get there. We can be there and back in the same day. We ain't even got to get a hotel room. No need to stand in Sandusky, Ohio. Ain't even no good hotel rooms like that in Sandusky, Ohio. We're going to go to Cedar Point and we're going to come home. Kids going to ride roller coasters. They're going to probably have more fun at Cedar Point than they are on Disney World. They don't need to see the mouse. If you want a mouse, go buy a mouse costume and outfit and then go and show up. Hey, I'm Mickey Mouse and I'm Minnie Mouse. Take them to Cedar Point. Chaba the Don says $40,000 a month is wild. It's not unheard of. It is not unheard of to have the lifestyle that I have, but then if you move it into a different region, it's going to cost you $40,000 a month. Maybe you don't need to go on a vacation. Maybe you need to go on a staycation. Hey, babe, we ain't really got it. We ain't got it. I'm building my business. I'm taking care of business. I'm on top of things. I'm doing what I got to do. But I'm going to get a hotel room in this place and we're going to have a good time. Make it, but don't tell her that. But don't sell it to her. Listen, don't sell it to her like that, though. Don't sell it to her like I just said. Sell it to her differently. Give her the game a little bit differently. Don't tell her you can't do it because you ain't got it. Say that we gonna do this because I think it's more fun. Babe, I got this plan for you. I got a surprise for you. She don't care. She don't care. She just want to have fun. She want to think. She want to feel thought of. You keep on trying to fly him out. Oh, no, I'm going to take you to Bora Bora. I'm going to take you to this. I'm not going to Bora Bora. I'm going to go to Bora Street. We going to Bora Street. It's shopping. It's a market. We gonna go roller skating. We gonna have some fun. We gonna have some sandwiches. Hey, we don't need Bora Bora. We got Bora Street right down the street, right there. We gonna have a fun time. Bora Bora is for later. Bora Street is where we hanging out today. All right. Universal Studios is better than Disney, if you ask me. Keep on trying to impress these women. Trying to keep up with who? Keeping up with you? Keeping up with me. I'm doing what's best for me. You know what I'm saying? This is nice, but I got to go home. The way my budget is set up. Let's get real. Time to tighten up our seatbelts. The Sigma Enigma says, been rocking with you since Lapeef saw you check Boyce on Whitlock. I don't feel like I checked Boyce. I just thought that we had a difference of opinion. Me and Boyce is cool. After hearing you and Shamika, I dropped the street chick. Appreciate you. Thanks, AD. Shout out to you, big dog. I don't feel, everybody keeps saying that I checked Boyce. I don't believe that I checked Boyce. Jerome Gray says, Anton, do you really think manufacturing comes back to America? Of these companies going to do automation? Be honest, I do. See, let me tell you why. Let me tell you what's going on, Jerome. Let me tell you what's really happening. And then we're going to get into this welfare conversation. I'm going to read some more super chats. We're going to get into this welfare conversation. Y'all have never been to middle America. Y'all live in a bubble. Y'all keep saying, oh, no, man, people ain't going to want to do these jobs. I just came back from Richmond. You know what I learned in Richmond? Richmond is regular and people need jobs. You know what I learned in Springfield, Massachusetts? People need jobs. People want these jobs. They need them. They need them in places that's going to really, really boost the economy, and they waiting and they ready for them and they ready to get to work. Y'all have never been to real America. Y'all keep going to visit these cities. Y'all don't really know what's happening in different places. Bro, go to Gary, Indiana. Set up shop in Gary, Indiana, and you're going to get booming. People going to get them jobs. People going to get them jobs. There's going to be a combination of automation. So the machines are going to be assisting and all of this stuff, but it's definitely going to be a lot of jobs. Y'all live in a bubble. People really living. Go to Milwaukee. Go up to Green Bay. Go up further in Michigan. Go up to Saginaw, Grand Rapids. People need jobs everywhere. Everywhere. And so y'all keep talking about Houston, Miami, New York. People want jobs and they ready to work. They ready to work. They ready to change the dynamics of their family. I don't know what are you talking about. Yes, 100%. People ready to work and they ready to get the bag and they ready to run it up. Y'all got to get out of y'all comfort zone. Y'all got to go see the rest of America. Life is lifing for people. They ready to work. Dre with the case says, what happened to Buy and the Black? Should be applauding. Facts. No, remember when everybody was boycotting? What happened to y'all boycotts? Everybody had to go back to work? Yeah, I thought so. Mark the Guardian says, aren't Democrats still boycotting Walmart? Ain't nobody boycotting nothing. All of these things go to die just like everything else. Boycott Walmart. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, with a couple super chats says, which president added the most to the national deficit is currently on pace to do it again? Here we go. He also says, why will prices rise when when while campaigning, he said the war in Ukraine will be over day one. What does one have to do with the other? Don't worry about it. Keep stick around. We're gonna teach you something. Anton, give us the African voice. Are you serious? Akuma. Why y'all practice life? No, that's my Indian voice. I gotta practice on my African voice. What are the prices rising? Nah, I got it. I don't know. I don't got the African voice down yet. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I gotta work on that. I'll bring you the African voice tomorrow. Michael Pennick says, come to San Antonio and compare San Antonio's Riverwalk to Detroit's Riverwalk. Can't wait. I'll be in San Antonio soon. I'll be there soon. Trump has us taking over global trade and shipping. Latrell says, pay off your debts and you'll be able to absorb inflation. You need to operate life like a business. Well, that would have to be in the Patreon to do that. Make sure you tap into the Patreon, look at the budgeting like a business video that I did, and then tell me what y'all think. Coach says, hey, Uncle Anton, what's your intake on a ranch house? I'm downgrading from a studio apartment, but this will be my first house. Any thoughts? It's all preference. I don't like ranches. I don't like one-story houses. I feel like it's a waste of the room that you have. I like colonials. I like a mix between modern colonials. Attached garage. I don't like ranches. I don't like it. I think it's a waste of space. Most ranches, they really waste the space. But I mean, listen, if you're downgrading from a crib, if you're going into it, get what you can get. It depends on the price. If it makes sense financially, then it makes sense. Without question says, when you go back to Texas, H-E-B is big dog around these parts. We go to Walmart only if H-E-B is too far or something non-grocery related. Interesting. Court says, might sound harsh, but this is the tough love conversation everyone needs. Do you want to survive or do you want to thrive? Tabby, what up, Tabby? Says, sometimes a walk to the park will do the job. It's free. Reorganize your lifestyle. You'll be able to sustain the inflation and be smart. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of the stuff we buy is garbage anyway. We don't even need it. We go to Walmart. We supposed to get something to eat for the day. We get fruit roll-ups, get Fridays cheese sticks in a box, Hungry Man dinners. Starbucks on me today. Shout out to my dog, Eric. I appreciate the star biggity bucks. I appreciate you, big dog. 392Q says, took a girl to the STL Arch. She had the best time ever, and it was free. Facts. Oh, he's so thoughtful. We walked around the arches. Get her some ice cream afterwards. Kiwan says, real estate related, would you open up a small figure mortgage company? Would you open up a small figure mortgage company for tiny homes? So basically, would I lend people money in order to stay in tiny homes? Only if I built them. Only if I built them, because then I would know. I would be all inclusive. I would be the builder. I would be the person that lent it. And then you can kill two birds with one stone because I'm paying myself. That's the long-term play. Don't worry about it. Keith Murphy says, I agree with you. People want to need those jobs. Billionaires win. They decided on cheap China labor, and I think they're going to win that battle. D, what up, D? D says, one summer here in Houston, folks will be ready to move. What, move away or move to it? I think they would be ready to move away. I don't like how Houston city planners got their city. Remember when those processing plants were raided in 2019, rounding up 700 immigrants, and folks were lined up around the corner to work the next day? Facts. All right, y'all. Well, speaking of work, let's get into this whole welfare conversation. All right. Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. If you are not a part of the Bag Chasers, then you should be. That link is pinned to the top of the chat. All right. So, I think that this is a conversation worth having. So, Trump's HUD secretary, which just so happened to be a black man, ooh, they don't like that. They don't like that because why does it say warfare? I don't like that. You got to correct that. Got to correct that. Because then they're going to be saying, Anton, he said that we need to make sure that we can read past the third grade level. And it say warfare. And it say warfare. Let's see if we can fix that really quickly so that people ain't complaining and getting distracted by the misspelling. There we go. Time to eliminate the welfare lifestyle. Trump's HUD secretary is basically breaking down plans so that they can eliminate it and people that are on social services for the rest of their life. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Thank you, Keith Murphy. Thank you, John McGuire. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Let's rock.
Welcome back. Congress hammering out key provisions of President Trump's big, beautiful bill, some of which could result in funding cuts to welfare programs. The president requesting certain cuts from the Housing and Urban Development Department, including more than $26 billion in state rental and grants and over $700 million in other assistance programs. Joining me now is Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for being here. What are you expecting?
Oh, we so mad that it's a black man. Trump doesn't hire any black people a part of his cabinet. They didn't give him any kind of talk time on all of these liberal media stations.
In terms of these welfare cuts, and where do you expect the biggest cuts to be made?
Well, good morning, Maria. Thank you for having me. It's great to see you again. You know, the president, my colleagues from the Senate and the House, this administration, we're all taking inventory and getting our fiscal house in order. As you know, the previous 4 years before we came, there were no checks and no balances, no transparency, and a lack of good stewardship in America's budget and America's fiscal house. And so, along with my colleagues on the Hill, we here at HUD are taking inventory of every program so that we could be sufficient and effective in serving the American people. This is the first step when you talk about the skinny budget. It's the first step of many in this process. Our job here at HUD is to maximize the budget that we do have and make sure that we're serving America's people in the critical programs that we have.
So do you expect cuts to those welfare programs, and how significant will the cuts be? Where specifically are you expecting the cuts, sir?
You know, I think not so much cuts only, Maria, but
people that's on welfare don't really vote anyway, so we're not tripping about it. It's not like it's going to affect our political future. Most people that are permanently, not people that are temporarily. Everybody need a little bit of help sometimes, and that's why we pay our taxes and we created the programs. It's not supposed to be a permanent program. But people that are permanently on welfare, they not voting. They usually got a lot of kids that they got to take care of.
Also, how we administer the programs. One thing at HUD, we're very mission-minded, and we understand, our call here to serve the American people. We'll see when the budget comes out what we have to work with. Our job is to maximize this budget and to make sure that we're serving America's most vulnerable people as it pertains to housing and homelessness and disaster recovery.
Mr. Secretary, you co-wrote a New York Times op-ed along with RFK Jr., Brooke Rollins, Dr. Oz. You suggested that there should be new qualifications to receive the welfare benefits. You write, able-bodied adults receiving benefits must work, participate in job training, or volunteer in their communities at least 20 hours a week.
Oh, I heard about this one. And people were mad. Ooh-wee, they were mad. They were pissed off to the top of the pissivity level. They said, what? What do you mean able-bodied adults that get welfare social services got to do job training, or they got to be in school, or they got to do at least 20 hours a week volunteer? What do you mean? If I get free housing, I get free housing. If I get food stamps, I get food stamps. I don't want to train to actually get myself off of it. They are mad. And I heard one person say, why I got to come from a black man? Why a black man got to be the face of making sure that we get off of social services? What? It'll make you never want to do it again. I remember, this is going to be completely unrelated, but follow me here on the Millionaire Derailment Show. I remember when I was a much younger man and going back and forth with the police, and then didn't realize that I was spending more on lawyers, making sure that I kept myself out of jail. Instead of just going and getting my license and doing the right thing and abiding by the law, I had a suspended license. And then on that suspended license, I said, I don't care nothing about that. It ain't like I'm not going to drive anyway. And then I got caught driving while my license was suspended. And the judge, he said, Mr. Daniels, got a lengthy rap sheet here as far as your ability to not follow the law when it comes to driving. Got a couple racing tickets on here, drag racing. Looks like you've been speeding, run a red light, doing a 65 and 35. Okay, Mr. Daniels, he said, listen, this is what we going to do. I was looking at my lawyer. I said, wait a minute, this ain't going the way that I thought we was going to go. He said, this is what we going to do, Mr. Daniels. You're going to have to do volunteer work on Saturdays and Sundays, and I don't want you driving for at least 30 days. And I said, I clutched my pearls. I said, no way. He said, yes way, Mr. Daniels. For 30 days, you're not going to be driving. And this upcoming weekend, you're going to be doing community service. I said, God, Lord, rebuke the devil. So, one of the things that I had to do with community service the first day, I had to go pick up some trash. You know, the people that be in them vests that be on the side of the road, that's what we was doing. And then the second day, that was Saturday. And then Sunday, we had to go paint. Yep, had to go paint a community center that may or may not have ever opened. And so we had to go in there. And so some guys had a bad attitude and some girls had a bad attitude. And then one thing I think that they need to do is they need to separate the men from the women, because all the dudes was trying to do was holler at the women. That was Dusty. And I was thinking to myself, she in here with us doing community service, which means that she ain't got her life together. So why are y'all trying to holler at her so that y'all can both be Dusty together? I'm going to just go ahead and do my painting. And so we would paint. I was painting the community service, and we had to do that for 8 hours. The moral of the story is, me being forced to do work and to suffer as a result of it, that led me to never wanting to do it again, because I didn't want my weekends to be controlled by what they had going on. I had to go over there and pick up trash and do community service. And some guys was trying to cover up their face just in case somebody drove by so that they couldn't say, oh man, I seen you picking up trash on the side of the road. What'd you do? You know what I'm saying? So it made me never want to ever have a suspended license again. So what did I do? Made sure that I obeyed the law. Did not get in any more trouble for the next 30 days. Went and got my license, and they never heard from me again. So now, 20 years later, because that was when I was a much younger man. Now, 20 years later, when they pull me over and they say, Mr. Daniels, how was your driving record? And I say, stellar, sir. And they go and they look at my driving record. They say, this is what they say to me. This is what they say to me. They say, wow. They say, man, you had a rough time back in your 20s. They still got all of that. You had a rough time, 15, 20 years ago, Mr. Daniels, but I don't see nothing on here from the last 15 years. Yes, sir. Straight as an arrow. Straight as an arrow, sir. Like, all right, you know what? We don't want to mess up this stellar record. Go ahead on your way, Mr. Daniels. But my point is that when you are forced to be accountable for your actions, you start to want to do better. You start to want to do better. If you got to go out there and work 20 hours as a volunteer, you're going to think to yourself, I might as well be making money since I'm out here already. If you got to go out there and search for a job and be in school, you're going to say, well, you know what? I might as well pick a curriculum that's going to benefit me. The logical person would think that. Not the person that's still trying to talk to the chick that's helping y'all paint or pick up trash on the side of the road because she dusty too. And everybody talking to each other, trying to figure out what everybody is picking up on the side of the road for. So the first thing that we say is, this is how they get you. It's just like how they say it, how they do the prison movies. What you in for? Nah, you don't start off like that. Yeah, how long you got to do here? Yeah, man, I only got to do a weekend, bro. Oh, man, word? Man, I got to do 2 months. What? Dog, what did you do to get in here for 2 months? Man, it's crazy. And then that's when the conversation hit where you can find out how dusty a person has been to where they had to be in there for 2 months. So then I hear their story and I'll be thinking to myself, ain't no way I'm going to be doing volunteer work for 2 months. I take my weekend, I take my L, and I'm going to get my license. Yeah, man, I got caught up one more time.
So tell us about that. Is that a way to significantly cut back? How can the administration enforce those policies to reshape the welfare system?
Well, Maria, I think it's a paradigm shift. You know
know
as
what it
well as
is.
I do, work restores dignity.
Yeah.
Work brings pride. You know, and our welfare system deviates.
Somebody saying you speeding now. It's different now. I got lawyers that can really, really handle some things. It's a little different. It's different privileges now. When you get to a certain space, you do things because you have certain privileges. You don't worry about the consequences. They'll sort themselves out. The fact of the matter is we're being accountable for our actions. Let's just get there.
From what it was intended to be from
What up,
its
Moses?
origin. It was
I'll read that to you
intended
just
for the
shortly.
most vulnerable to the most needy in our country. But now we've created welfare as a lifestyle in our country. And you know, America is not a welfare state. America is a country of opportunity and a country of entrepreneurship. And so this will help us to encourage able-bodied people in America that are receiving government subsidies to work. You know, there was a study that came out. Almost 50% of households that are receiving HUD funds, almost 50%, not one person in that household is working. And
That's crazy. And you know they finessing the system. We all know how they finesse it. They don't want to get no job. Every time they apply for a place, they want to get paid under the table. Yeah, I'm on to you. I'm on to you. This is what we say. It's no longer called black fatigue, it's ghetto fatigue. I'm on to you now. I'm on you. I'm all over you. Everybody keep coming to work for me. I remember when I had opened up the restaurant. Hey, man, y'all, I want to apply to work for you, but can I get paid under the table? Why you want to get paid under the table, Ricky? I'm sorry, Rodney. Rodney, why do you want to get paid under the table? Cause, man, you know, I don't want to be on the books. You know, it's gonna affect what I got going on at home, big dog. Then they always want to say, "I'm all right, OG. What's up, OG? Big dog. Big dog. Can I get paid under the table?" Because they don't want the government to take away their benefits. So you telling me every able-bodied adult, mama, sister, chick, baby mama, and 2 dudes is in there and ain't nobody working? And everybody got a Cadillac on the front lawn, huh? Nobody working. Everybody, he got a Charger, she got a Challenger, they got a Cadillac Escalade on 4 Giottos on the front lawn. Man, we got to get this money. How much y'all paying in rent? $35 a month. Then you have a bad attitude. As you paying regular market rates and they paying $35 a month and they got all of the cars out in the front. Finessing.
that has to change. That culture, that paradigm has to change.
I'm going to tell them, I'm going to say what they don't say on Fox News. I'm going to say what they don't say on MSNBC. I'm going to say what they don't say on CNN. I'm going to tell you the truth of how the game really be happening. That's what really be happening. Oh, he with her. He 100% with her. But see, if she say that she know where her baby daddy is or that they live together, then they going to remove her social services and her housing and they going to cut down on her WIC. So she got to act like she don't know who the father is and she don't know where he at. Oh, I don't know. I'm a woman in distress. I can't believe that they going to cut down on my food stamps. You know who your baby daddy is and he busting it down for a real one.
At HUD, this is common sense compassion. We want to help people and invigorate and encourage people to work, able-bodied people to work. We're not talking about the elderly. We're not talking about those that are disabled. Able-bodied, able-minded people that are receiving HUD funding should go to work to restore dignity, Maria. Maria, you get up early in the morning and you work, you serve. And so we want to give other people and encourage others the same opportunity. And so this is a great step forward, working with our colleagues at Agriculture and also Health and Human Services and Dr. Oz to be kind of a catalyst to change the trajectory of the lives of people in our country.
I think
now they would call Scott right here a sellout. You sell out. You always caping for the white man. Like what? The white man? We all pay taxes. This is all of our tax dollars. Who is the white man? You always trying to get us off the white man's. You always helping the white man make more money. This is systematic oppression. So, dog, You lying to the federal government, selling drugs to your community, always trying to get paid under the table, always hustling, but you gotta escalate in your mama's name, and y'all out stealing cars in the middle of the night, and you finessing all of the taxpayers so that you can pay $35 a month in your rent, and I'm the sellout. Yeah, man, it's the system. You always you for the white man. Who you vote for, Trump? Ugh. Now they trying to take away all of our benefits. You know what? Give us reparations. Give us reparations.
It's a great point that you make, Secretary, because work is empowering. And, you know, it also checks the box of a way to reassess these programs and perhaps save a little money.
Everybody that call you a sellout park on their mama lawn. They think that the lawn is an extra parking spot. It's not for grass. It's not for grass. It's for parking spots.
Where you're looking to actually align with colleagues in the House and Senate, trying to come up with spending cuts for this big, beautiful bill to get the president's agenda passed. But you make the right point, and that is work is empowering. Why not, align with people so that they can see the benefits of that rather than just being so dependent on government? President Trump has said many times he wants private enterprise to rule the day in this economy.
That's exactly right. And Maria, you hit it on the head. I was visiting one of our public housing authorities, the residents that live there in a city in our country. And I was visiting with them about the deplorable conditions that they live in one of our public housing authorities, which we're taking inventory of all of those as well. And I heard the story, the testimony of one young lady said, I have been living in this public housing authority in this project since 1973. That
1973, that's 50 years, family. Yo, for taxpayers to pay your bills for 50 years is no way. I
mean, she has been living there since birth or shortly thereafter. And so because of that, her mother, probably her grandmother, raised her there. She's living there. Now she's raising her children there. And so that's the paradigm that we want to change. My parents, neither one of them went to college, but they both instilled in me a tremendous work ethic, and it has made our family stronger. And that's what we want here, not just at HUD, but from the administration, our country overall, is to have young people to see those coming before them, working hard, providing for them families, because if young people are incentivized to work, that will change our culture. It'll change our workforce. It'll increase earnings, increase family stability. And so that's what we're after here at HUD. That's what the president and our administration is after. And Maria, I believe that it is beneficial for the posterity of our country, the rehabilitation.
Now, you know that they're going to call you a sellout Scott Turner. This is too much like right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Too much like right, Scott. They don't want to hear that. What? Work? Work for who? Man, I got a record. I can't be working for nobody. Keith Murphy says, last one did you Stephen Miller's law firm sued for control of the, okay. Last one did you, Stephen Miller's law firm, sued for control of the Supreme Court. What do you think about executive attempting to consolidate power? I think that's what they're supposed to do. I don't know. I don't know anything about what you're saying, honestly, but I appreciate you. John McGuire says, Walmart tariff prior to the trade war, tariff was 25%, now it's 30%, and all electronics are now 0%. This isn't an issue and simply clickbait. Walmart is talking about the nations with the pause on them, not China. Interesting. Thomas Taylor says, word, people do what they are expected, need to do. Americans can and will do it. 392Q says, it definitely is a business investing and moving into North Carolina, St. Louis. Sadly, those homes are destroyed, but all of them homes are being condemned. What are your thoughts on them types of homes? I think that people need to move into them and then fix them up, and they'll have a much cheaper way of living, and then they can also benefit off of the growth that is going to come soon. Crash Out or Cash Out says, I remember being in high school and paying attention to politics, and I said we need to have able-bodied adults earning their welfare to be a part or building our communities and have them invested interested. Over 15 years ago, talk about it. Moses King says, what up, AD? Heard they finally making moves to ban corn. Is that real? If so, I'm all in. Oh, that's already starting to happen. It's starting to happen in a lot of states. The industry has been poisoning minds for way too long, and women are fighting it. Women are fighting it, believe it or not. I don't want people in my business, says Mr. Lott. Facts. Jerry says multi-generational welfare is insane. Facts. Tommy says the issue is everyone wants to start at the top, and it's nothing wrong with working at Del Taco and making that money to build something better. Facts. All of it is facts. Anyways, it has been a good show. We've been going into overtime. I need to start making these shows 2 hours again. Need to start making these shows 2 hours again. Trying to find quality black teas. Where you get yours? I actually order mines in packs of 3 on Amazon, and mines cost, I believe, $35 a shirt or something like that. $20, $25 a shirt. I don't know, but they high. They really, 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 really high quality. I order mine on Amazon, to be honest with you. So if you want to know exactly where I order them from or what the company is, then just hit me up on the email and then I'll send it to you. Ever considered a WNBA game? Yeah, back when it was in my city when they had the Detroit Shock. Where y'all want to go watch the WNBA game at? I guess we could drive down to Indianapolis, right? Indiana. What other teams? I'm not going to Chicago. I'm not going to see Angel Reese. I'm not interested. Where y'all want to watch the WNBA game at? I'm not spending no more than $25 for a ticket, so choose wisely. Ain't no way in the world I'm about to spend no money on a WNBA game like that. My shirts are not from China. That's a fact. My t-shirts are not from China. Oh, I cut the tag out of this one. The newer ones don't even have a tag in it. It's just got an imprint in the back of it. So, Indiana, the Mystics. We can go see Caitlin Clark down there in Indiana, right? Indiana Fever. Y'all want to go to an Indiana game? How far is the Indiana Fevers? What was it, like 4 hours to get to Indianapolis? Create a list of your Amazon favorites, Anton. Amazon pays influencers per sale. All right, cool. I'll put in a list of my favorites in there. All right, cool. I got you. A low 70s and sunny this weekend. Come to North Carolina, my boy. Well, we'll see. I think my daughter is going out of town, so I might have some space to go out here and get in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what they saying in the streets. Got it. All right. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tune into the Q show tonight. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Tory Lanez, Cassie maybe. I got to figure it out. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.